They call me a demon, a monster, the hawk-eyed terror of Konoha. Let them whisper, let them fear. I am Naruto Uzumaki, and I stand where no swordsman has ever reached, at the very peak. This blade, Yoru, has tasted the blood of legends. My mother left me this cursed inheritance, and I've made it my throne. The seas you're looking at, still just a small pond. Watch closely, because I don't repeat lessons.
The three Jonin stood atop the Hokage monument at midnight, their confidence absolute. They had waited months for this opportunity to catch the demon brat alone, far from the Hokage's protective gaze. "There he is," whispered the first, a scarred veteran named Takeshi. "Just standing there like he owns the damn mountain." Naruto Uzumaki stood at the monument's edge, his back to them. The massive cross-shaped black blade planted in the stone beside him caught the moonlight, its dark surface seeming to drink in the illumination rather than reflect it. In his hand, a simple cup of wine caught the breeze. He was 12 years old. "That sword's bigger than he is," muttered the second Jonin, Kenji, trying to convince himself this would be easy. "Probably can't even lift it properly." The third, a woman named Ayame, hesitated. "The Hokage said." "The Hokage protects a demon," Takeshi cut her off. "Tonight, we correct that mistake. 3 Jonin against 1 academy dropout, this ends quickly." They moved forward, spreading into a standard capture formation. 30 meters, 20, 10. Naruto took a sip of his wine. He didn't turn around. "That's close enough," he said, his voice calm and measured, carrying easily across the wind. "Turn back now. This doesn't have to happen." Takeshi laughed. "Listen to it talk, like it has a choice." He drew a kunai. "We're taking you in, demon, dead or alive. I see." Naruto set his wine cup carefully on the monument's edge, the motion deliberate and unhurried. A wound on the back is a swordsman's shame. He turned. His eyes locked onto them, piercing blue with a golden tint that seemed to glow in the darkness. Not the eyes of a child, not even the eyes of a man. The eyes of a predator that had never known fear, measuring prey that had wandered into his domain. Ayame's breath caught. Kenji took an involuntary step backward. "What?" Takeshi's confidence wavered. The boy's gaze passed over him, through him, dissecting everything, his stance, his strength, his intentions, his very soul, in a single instant. "Weak," Naruto said simply. He reached up to his neck, fingers closing around the cross-shaped pendant that hung there. With a gentle tug, the chain broke. The small blade gleamed in his palm, a miniature version of the massive weapon behind him. "I don't hunt rabbits with a cannon." "You arrogant little." Takeshi launched forward, kunai aimed for the demon's heart. Naruto moved. The small crossblade intercepted the kunai with a crystalline clink. Takeshi's eyes widened. The force of that tiny blade's impact sent his weapon spinning from his grip. Before he could process what happened, the Kogatana traced a shallow line across his chest, cutting through his Jonin vest like paper. Naruto was already past him. Kenji formed hand seals, chakra gathering for a fire technique. The crossblade flicked through the air. The small weapon embedded itself in Kenji's hand. Not deep, barely a scratch, but his concentration shattered. The jutsu fizzled. Ayame, the smartest of the three, ran. Naruto appeared in her path. She hadn't seen him move. One moment he was behind her. The next he stood directly ahead, the Kogatana back in his hand as if it had never left. "You chose correctly," he said, "but too late." The small blade pressed against her throat, not cutting, just resting there. She felt the edge, sharp enough to part molecules. One twitch and her carotid would open. "Please," she whispered. "Tell the others," Naruto said, his voice devoid of emotion. "Tell them what happened here. Tell them the demon they fear is done being hunted." He withdrew the blade. "Go." Ayame didn't need to be told twice. She grabbed Kenji and hauled him away. Takeshi, clutching his bleeding chest, stumbled after them. Naruto watched them flee, then returned to his wine cup. He reattached the Kogatana to a new chain, letting it hang against his chest once more. The massive black blade, Yoru, remained untouched in the stone. "They weren't even worth drawing you for," he murmured to the weapon. "Perhaps one day I'll find someone who is." The Hokage's crystal ball showed everything. In his office, Hiruzen Sarutobi set down his pipe, expression troubled. "He's become exactly what I feared," the third Hokage said quietly. "Too strong for his age. Too isolated. Too much like..." He didn't finish the thought. On the crystal surface, Naruto retrieved his wine and returned to his vigil over the sleeping village, the massive black blade his only companion beneath the stars. "But perhaps," Hiruzen continued, "that's exactly what this village needs." 6 years earlier, the apartment was small, dusty, and filled with the kind of silence that came from years of neglect. 6-year-old Naruto stood in the center of his living room, holding a scroll he'd found hidden beneath a loose floorboard. The seal on it had reacted to his chakra, his blood specifically, when he'd accidentally cut his finger and dripped crimson onto the paper. Now the scroll lay open before him, revealing his mother's handwriting. "My precious son, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there to watch you grow, to hold you, to tell you every day how much you are loved. Your father and I gave everything to protect this village, and in doing so, we left you alone. Please forgive us. You are an Uzumaki, Naruto. Our blood runs with power, vast chakra, incredible vitality, and the will to endure anything. But there is more. Your father sealed the 9 tails within you, yes, but I left you something else. Something that belonged to my clan's founders, hidden from history for a reason. In this seal, you will find 2 blades. Yoru, the knight, a kokuto, a permanent black blade, and its companion, kogatana. They were created by Uzumaki Ashina himself, forged with techniques lost to time. Only true Uzumaki blood can claim them. Anyone else who touches Yoru will slowly die, consumed by the blade's curse. Yoru will be massive, too large for a child. But you will grow into it, my son. These blades are not just weapons, they are your birthright, your protection, and your path forward. When the village treats you as a demon, let these blades remind you that you are human. You are my son. You are Uzumaki. Train hard, grow strong, and know that wherever I am, I love you with all my heart." Mom Naruto's hands trembled as he read the last lines. Then he bit his thumb, smearing blood across the secondary seal embedded in the scroll. Smoke exploded through the room. When it cleared, 2 weapons lay before him. The first was a cross-shaped pendant, small and elegant, with a razor edge despite its size. He could feel it calling to him, yearning to be held. The kogatana. The second took his breath away. Yoru lay on the floor, impossibly large. The cross-shaped hilt was wrapped in black leather, with deep purple gems set into the guard. The blade itself stretched nearly 7 feet long, pitch black as if carved from midnight itself. The cross guard extended wide, creating the signature cross shape that matched the pendant. It was beautiful, terrifying, perfect. Naruto reached out with shaking hands and touched the hilt. Warmth flooded through him. Not the burning heat of the fox sealed in his gut, but something else. Recognition. Legacy. Home. You are mine, the blade seemed to whisper. And I am yours. He tried to lift it. The weapon barely budged. It wasn't that it was too heavy, his Uzumaki strength could manage the weight, but rather that the blade wanted him to earn the right to wield it properly. "Okay," Naruto said, his voice steady despite his tears. "I'll get stronger. Strong enough to carry you. Strong enough to make Mom proud." He lifted the kogatana instead. The small crossblade fit his hand perfectly, its balance flawless. He gave it an experimental swing. The blade hummed through the air, eager. That night, Naruto Uzumaki began training in secret, the massive black blade watching over him like a silent guardian. The kogatana became his constant companion, worn as a pendant around his neck. And slowly, year by year, he grew into the weapon that was his birthright. Present day. The academy graduation was a formality. Naruto stood in the back of the classroom, arms crossed as Iruka called names. He wore a long black coat that fell to his knees, red cloud patterns stitched into the fabric, an homage to his Uzumaki heritage. Beneath the coat, simple combat clothes. Around his neck, the cross-shaped kogatana pendant. On his back, a wrapped bundle that everyone carefully avoided looking at. Everyone knew what lay beneath those wrappings. The demon's cursed blade. The weapon that had killed a chunin stupid enough to try stealing it 2 years ago. The man had grabbed the hilt during a failed assassination attempt, and within hours, he was dead, bleeding from every orifice, his body rejecting itself. Naruto Uzumaki, Iruka called, his voice carefully neutral. Naruto walked forward and accepted his headband without ceremony. He tied it around his forehead, the metal plate covering the whisker marks he'd been born with, or perhaps earned from the fox. He'd never cared enough to find out which. "Congratulations," Iruka said quietly. "Try not to kill your teammates." "I work better alone," Naruto replied, his voice calm and measured. "Teaming me with others is a waste of their potential and my time. The Hokage's orders are noted." Naruto turned and walked out before Iruka could finish. In the hallway, he passed Sasuke Uchiha. The last Uchiha stared at him, Sharingan spinning to life automatically, a defensive reflex when faced with something his instincts recognized as dangerous. "Uzumaki," Sasuke said. "Uchiha." Naruto didn't slow down. "The seas you're looking at are still just a small pond. Don't drown in it." Sasuke's jaw clenched. "What's that supposed to mean?" But Naruto was already gone, the door closing behind him with quiet finality. Outside, Konoha bustled with activity. Civilians gave him a wide berth. Shinobi watched him warily. Children whispered about the hawk-eyed demon who carried the cursed blade. Naruto ignored them all. He made his way through the village streets to his usual spot, a training ground at the village's edge, abandoned years ago after a training accident left it scarred and unsuitable for normal use. Perfect for him. He unwrapped Yoru slowly, reverently. The black blade gleamed in the afternoon sun, its edge sharp enough to split light itself. Over the years, as he'd grown, the weapon had become an extension of himself. Where once it had been impossibly large, now it fit him perfectly, a 7-foot blade for a boy who'd shot up to nearly 6 feet tall by age 12, blessed with Uzumaki genetics and relentless training. Naruto planted Yoru in the ground and removed his coat, hanging it carefully on the blade's crossguard. He stretched, feeling his muscles warm up, then drew the kogatana from its place around his neck. The small crossblade whispered through the air as he began his forms. These weren't the Academy Taijutsu katas everyone learned. These were movements born from 6 years of solitary study, trial and error, and an instinctive understanding of how a blade should move through space. Strike, parry, riposte. Each motion was economical, wasting no energy. His fighting style had evolved into something uniquely his own. Minimal movement for maximum effect, every action deliberate and devastating. After an hour of warming up with kogatana, he sheathed the small blade and lifted Yoru. The weapon sang as it cut through the air, one-handed despite its size. The black blade moved like water, flowing from position to position. Naruto's hawk-like eyes, that golden tint his mother's letter hadn't mentioned, but which had developed as his power grew, tracked invisible opponents. He could see their movements before they made them, could sense their intentions through the air itself. This was his Kenbun Shoku, his observation, a chakra-based sensing ability that let him perceive the world in ways normal shinobi couldn't comprehend. An enemy to the left. Yoru swept horizontally. The blade cleaved through a boulder 20 meters away, despite never touching it. The stone split cleanly in two, cut by the compressed air and chakra Naruto had projected along the blade's edge. 3 from above. He pointed Yoru skyward and pulled the blade down in a single stroke. 3 trees at the training ground's edge, 50 meters away, toppled simultaneously, their trunks severed at identical heights. Koko Odan, he thought, the crossing of the black blade, his flying slash technique. He developed it after realizing his chakra could extend his cutting power far beyond the blade itself. The technique could travel kilometers if he wanted, devastating everything in its path. But he rarely needed to push it that far. Most opponents weren't worth the effort. Impressive. Naruto turned slowly, Yoru held casually in one hand. A figure stood at the training ground's entrance, a man wearing the standard jonin vest, with gravity-defying silver hair and a mask covering most of his face. His Hitai-8 covered one eye. Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja, son of the White Fang. Kakashi Hatake, Naruto acknowledged. You're late. The academy dismissed 2 hours ago. Got lost on the road of life, Kakashi said easily, though his visible eye never left Yoru. I'm your new jonin instructor. Team assignments start tomorrow. I don't need an instructor. The Hokage disagrees. Kakashi pulled out a small orange book, Icha Icha Paradise, and opened it casually. Besides, I'm curious. They say you're the strongest genin in Konoha's history. Some claim you could beat most jonin. Care to prove it? Naruto planted Yoru in the ground and removed the kogatana from his neck. I don't hunt rabbits with a cannon. Kakashi's eye widened slightly. Then he smiled behind his mask. Interesting. You think I'm a rabbit? You haven't shown me otherwise. The copy ninja tucked away his book. Well then, let's see if you can back up that confidence. He moved fast, Jonin-level speed, kunai drawn and aimed for Naruto's chest. A testing strike, pulled enough not to kill, but fast enough to challenge most Genin. Naruto's kogatana intercepted the kunai with a casual flick. The small crossblade knocked Kakashi's weapon aside, then continued its arc toward the Jonin's throat. Kakashi twisted away, genuinely surprised by the speed and precision. He landed 10 meters back, reassessing. That was, Naruto appeared in front of him. He's faster than me, Kakashi realized. The small crossblade pressed against his chest, right over his heart. Not cutting, but the message was clear. And that was just his movement speed. No seals, no technique, pure physical ability. You're skilled, Naruto said, withdrawing the blade. Kaji level in time, if you survive that long. But right now, you're still swimming in a pond, Kakashi Hatake. The seas I'm looking at are much larger. Kakashi stood slowly, his mind racing. The boy, no, he wasn't just a boy. Naruto had assessed him completely in seconds, had tested him with minimal effort, and the calm, measured way he spoke, that absolute confidence without arrogance. Who taught you to fight like that? Kakashi asked. No one. I learned alone. That's impossible. Your technique, your speed, your precision are mine. Naruto reattached the kogatana around his neck. I discovered something 6 years ago, Kakashi. Something important. Strength isn't taught, it's earned. Day after day, year after year, alone on this training ground with only my blades for company. That's how you become strong. He walked past Kakashi toward Yoru. If you're my instructor, then instruct. But don't waste my time with tests. I've already proven what I am. Kakashi watched him go, struck by a sudden realization. Naruto moved like someone who'd never relied on others because others had never been there. Alone, but not lonely. Self-sufficient to a degree that most shinobi never achieved because they always had someone to fall back on. He's like Sensei, Kakashi thought. That same absolute confidence. But where Minato-sensei was warm, this boy is cold. Where Sensei fought for others, this one fights for himself alone. What are you fighting for, Naruto? Kakashi asked. What drives someone to become this strong? Naruto paused, one hand on Yoru's hilt. Freedom, he said simply. The freedom to live as I choose, to go where I please, to answer to no one. The village sees me as a demon. The council wants me controlled or dead. The Hokage tries to protect me out of guilt. None of them understand. Understand what? I'm not their weapon. I'm not their demon. I'm not their student. He pulled Yoru from the ground, the massive blade resting easily on his shoulder. I am Naruto Uzumaki, wielder of Yoru, and I will be strong enough that no one can ever cage me again. The conviction in those words hit Kakashi like a physical force. This wasn't a child's dream or a genin's boast. This was a declaration of intent from someone who had the power to make it reality. Tomorrow, Kakashi said, Training Ground 3, dawn. Meet your new team. I'll be there. Naruto wrapped Yoru in its cloth covering. But they should know up front, I work alone. A team will only slow me down. Maybe, Kakashi said, or maybe you'll surprise yourself. Naruto said nothing, but his hawk-like eyes held skepticism. He walked away into the growing darkness, the massive blade on his back, a promise and a warning to anyone watching. Kakashi stood alone in the training ground, surrounded by evidence of Naruto's power, split boulders, severed trees, carved earth. He pulled out his Icha Icha book but didn't read it. Instead, he stared at the destruction and wondered what monster the Hokage had just assigned him to supervise. Not the Nine Tails. That would have been easier. No, Naruto Uzumaki was something else entirely. Something the shinobi world hadn't seen before and wasn't prepared for. A weapon that refused to be wielded. Team assignments. Dawn broke over Konoha with muted colors. Training ground. 3 sat empty except for 3 figures waiting by the memorial stone. Sasuke Uchiha leaned against a tree, arms crossed, looking irritated. Sakura Haruno sat on a bench, nervously adjusting her headband. Both had been waiting for an hour. Where are they? Sakura asked. Kakashi-sensei is late, but Naruto should have... I'm here. Both Genin jumped. Naruto stood 5 meters away, having appeared without a sound. His black coat billowed slightly in the morning breeze. Yoru rose above his shoulders, wrapped but unmistakable. The kogatana glinted at his throat. "How did you?" Sakura started. "You weren't paying attention," Naruto said simply. He walked past them and sat on the memorial stone itself. Disrespectful to most, but he did it with such natural ease that it seemed appropriate. Kakashi will be late, he always is. Sasuke's Sharingan activated reflexively, studying Naruto. The Uchiha had been doing research. Rumors said the demon brat had killed 3 Jonin. Other rumors said he'd spared them. Either way, the name Hawkeye Demon had spread through the village's shinobi population like wildfire. "You're Naruto Uzumaki," Sasuke said, making it sound like an accusation. "Obviously." "They say you're strong, stronger than most Jonin. They undersell me." Naruto pulled out a small cup and a flask of wine, pouring himself a drink at 7 in the morning. "The seas you're looking at, Sasuke Uchiha, are still just a small pond. Remember that." Sasuke's jaw clenched. "You said that yesterday. What does it mean?" "It means you think you're strong because you're the last Uchiha. You think your Sharingan makes you special." Naruto took a sip of wine, savoring it. "But strength isn't bloodline. It's not natural talent. It's dedication. Every day for years, pushing yourself beyond your limits. That's real strength, and you haven't earned it yet." "You don't know anything about me," Sasuke snapped. "I know you're driven by revenge. I know you train hard to kill your brother. I know you think that makes you different from the other academy students." Naruto's golden-tinted eyes locked onto Sasuke. "But you're still weak. Ambition is the strongest blade, but yours hasn't been forged yet. It's still brittle, likely to break when tested." The words hit Sasuke like physical blows. Worse, the Sharingan told him Naruto wasn't mocking him. He was stating facts, assessing Sasuke the way a master swordsman might assess a dull blade. Sakura, sensing the tension, tried to intervene. "Naruto-kun, maybe we should." "You're afraid," Naruto interrupted, turning his attention to her. "Of me, specifically. That's wise. Fear is a survival instinct. But if you're going to be shinobi, you need more than fear. You need purpose." My purpose is..." Sakura struggled to articulate it. "To impress the Uchiha?" Naruto shook his head. "Shallow. Find something worth fighting for, or this career will kill you." Before anyone could respond, Kakashi appeared in a swirl of leaves. "Yo, sorry I'm late. A black cat crossed my path." "And save it," Naruto said, not looking up from his wine. "We've been waiting. Let's get this over with." Kakashi blinked, his casual demeanor cracking slightly. Naruto's tone wasn't disrespectful, just indifferent, like a tiger being told to perform tricks. "Right, well, let's start with introductions. Tell me your name, likes, dislikes, dreams for the future. I'll go first." Kakashi smiled. "My name is Kakashi Hatake. I have lots of likes and dislikes. Dreams for the future? Well, I have lots of hobbies." He told us nothing, Sakura realized. "You next, Pinky," Kakashi said. "My name is Sakura Haruno. I like." She glanced at Sasuke and blushed. "My dream is..." And I really dislike Naruto. I mean, not Naruto specifically, just... Enough, Kakashi cut her off. "Uchiha. Sasuke Uchiha. I don't have likes. I have many dislikes. My ambition is to restore my clan and kill a certain someone." The air went cold. Kakashi's expression darkened slightly. "And you, Naruto?" Naruto finished his wine and stood, setting the cup carefully on the memorial stone. "Naruto Uzumaki. I like solitude, wine, and worthy opponents. I dislike those who hunt rabbits with cannons, wasted effort for minimal gain. My dream," he paused, looking out over the village, "is to be free, to live by my own rules, answering to no one, strong enough that no one can cage me. I will stand at the top, and the world will have no choice but to acknowledge it." Silence fell over the training ground. Even Kakashi felt the weight of that declaration. Not arrogance, not boasting. Simple fact, delivered with absolute certainty. "Well then," Kakashi said slowly, "those are some lofty goals. Let's see if you three can work together first. Tomorrow, we'll have a survival exercise. Come hungry, though you'll probably throw up. Dismissed." "Wait," Sasuke said. "What kind of exercise?" "You'll find out tomorrow. Oh, and don't eat breakfast. You'll just puke it up." Kakashi vanished in another swirl of leaves. Sakura looked nervously between her teammates. Sasuke glared at Naruto. Naruto, for his part, was already walking away. "Where are you going?" Sakura called. "To train. Alone." He didn't look back. "Don't follow me." They didn't. The bell test. The next morning, 3 Genins stood before Kakashi at Training Ground 3. An alarm clock sat on a nearby stump, set for noon. In Kakashi's hand, 2 bells jingled. "The exercise is simple," Kakashi explained. "Take these bells from me before the alarm goes off. Those who don't get a bell get no lunch and will be tied to those posts. Oh, and only 2 bells, which means one of you fails and gets sent back to the academy." Sakura paled. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. Naruto stood with his arms crossed, expression unchanged. "You can use any weapon, including shuriken," Kakashi continued. "Come at me with the intent to kill, or you'll never get them." "When do we start?" Sasuke asked. "When I say." Naruto moved. Not toward Kakashi. Away. He walked to the edge of the training ground and sat beneath a tree, leaning back against the trunk. He didn't draw any weapon, didn't take a combat stance. "Naruto?" Kakashi called. "The test has started." "No, it hasn't." Naruto closed his eyes. "This is beneath me. Call me when you're ready to fight seriously." Kakashi's visible eye widened. "You're not even going to try?" "I don't hunt rabbits with a cannon, Kakashi, and I don't play children's games." Naruto's tone was matter of fact. "This test is designed to teach teamwork. Work together, look underneath the underneath, put aside personal differences for the mission." I've heard the speech, but here's the problem. I don't need a team. I'm already stronger than you, probably stronger than most of the jonin in this village. Putting me with these 2, he gestured vaguely at Sasuke and Sakura, is like chaining a hawk to rabbits and expecting it to teach them to fly. The clearing went silent. Sakura looked shocked. Sasuke looked furious. Kakashi's expression was unreadable behind his mask. "That's quite the claim," Kakashi said quietly. "Care to back it up?" "Do I need to?" "Yesterday, I put my kogatana to your chest before you could react, and that was me being casual." Naruto opened one eye, the golden tint catching the morning light. "If I wanted these bells, I'd have them, but taking them proves nothing. You're testing them, not me. So I'll wait here until you're done playing with the children." Sasuke exploded into motion, kunai drawn. "You arrogant." Naruto's hand moved. The kogatana appeared in his palm, detached from his neck in a motion too fast to follow. The small crossblade flicked through the air. Sasuke's kunai went flying. The blade continued its path, slicing through the tree branch directly above Sasuke's head. The heavy branch crashed down, forcing the Uchiha to leap backward. The kogatana embedded itself in the tree trunk where Sasuke had been standing, vibrating from the impact. "See?" Naruto said calmly. "A pond." Sasuke stared at the small blade, then at Naruto, who hadn't moved from his seated position. The message was clear. "I could have killed you without even standing up." "Enough," Kakashi said sharply. He formed a hand seal. "Shadow clone jutsu." 5 copies appeared around the clearing. All 6 Kakashis stared at Naruto. "If you think you're above this test, prove it. Fight me seriously. No kogatana. Draw that black blade on your back, or shut up and participate like everyone else." Naruto's eyes opened fully. He studied Kakashi for a long moment, then sighed. "Very well, but understand something, Kakashi Hatake. You asked for this." He stood in one fluid motion. His hand reached back and unwrapped Yoru's coverings. The black blade emerged like night incarnate, its cross-shaped design gleaming, 7 feet of perfected death held casually in one hand. The atmosphere changed instantly. Chakra, no, something more primal, radiated from the weapon. Sasuke's Sharingan showed him the truth. The blade itself was infused with power, chakra compressed and refined over years until it became part of the weapon's very essence. "Kakashi," Naruto said, his voice carrying across the clearing. "You cloned yourself 5 times. Standard Jonin technique. You're planning to test me with numbers and teamwork while the real you observes safely." He pointed Yoru at each clone in turn, then at the tree line. "But you made a mistake. The real you is hiding 30 meters north, behind that specific tree, ready to use your Sharingan if I prove dangerous." Every clone froze. Kakashi's voice echoed from exactly where Naruto had pointed. "How did you?" "Kenbunshoku," Naruto said. "Observation. I can sense your intent, your chakra, your very presence. The clones are hollow copies. The real you reeks of caution and curiosity." He lowered Yoru slightly. "Now then, you wanted me to prove myself. Very well." He took a breath, then he moved. "Kokuto Yoru, Koko Odan." The blade swept horizontally in a single, perfect arc. Black light trailed behind it. Compressed chakra and air pressure formed into a cutting edge that extended far beyond the physical weapon. The flying slash crossed the training ground in an instant. All 5 shadow clones were bisected simultaneously, popping into smoke. The trees behind them weren't as lucky. Massive trunks groaned and fell, cut cleanly through at chest height. The slash continued past the tree line, carving a path through the forest for over 100 meters before finally dissipating. Kakashi emerged from his hiding spot, Sharingan spinning in his revealed left eye. He stared at the devastation, a perfectly straight line of destruction cutting through the training ground and deep into the forest beyond. That was one swing, Kakashi said quietly, one casual swing. I pulled it back significantly, Naruto said, already rewrapping Yoru. If I wanted to cut through the village, I could have. That's the difference between us, Kakashi. When you fight seriously, you might kill your opponent. When I fight seriously, I reshape the battlefield itself. He walked back to his tree and sat down, reattaching the kogatana to his neck. Now, are we done with the posturing? Because I have training to do. Sakura had fallen to her knees, overwhelmed. Sasuke stood rigid, his worldview cracking. He'd spent his entire life training to surpass his brother, to become the strongest Uchiha, to restore his clan's glory. And this demon, this boy his age, had just demonstrated power that made Sasuke's own abilities look like a child playing with a wooden sword. Kakashi took a deep breath, deactivating his Sharingan. Then, surprisingly, he smiled. You know what? You're right. What? Sasuke turned to him, confused. Naruto's right. This test isn't for him, it's for you two. Kakashi pulled out his Icha Icha book. Naruto passes automatically. Sasuke, Sakura, you two need to work together to get these bells. You have until noon, and I suggest you take Naruto's demonstration as motivation, because if you can't even work together against me, you'll never survive in a world where people like him exist. Sasuke's fists clenched. His pride screamed at him to refuse, to prove he could do it alone. But his Sharingan had recorded that slash, had seen the precision, the power, the sheer impossible gulf between Naruto's abilities and his own. He's not even trying, Sasuke realized. That wasn't him fighting. That was him demonstrating, like showing a child what real swordsmanship looks like. Fine, Sasuke ground out. Sakura, work with me. From his spot beneath the tree, Naruto pulled out his wine flask. He poured himself a cup and watched the sky, only half paying attention as Sasuke and Sakura fumbled their way through teamwork. They failed to get the bells. Of course they did. But Kakashi passed them anyway, giving the expected speech about teamwork and the memorial stone, and how those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash. Naruto listened with half an ear. He'd heard it all before. The village that preached those values had abandoned him since birth. The shinobi who spoke of protecting comrades had tried to kill him in the night. The hypocrisy was so thick you could cut it with Yoru. Team 7 is officially formed, Kakashi announced. Meet tomorrow for our first mission assignment. As they dispersed, Kakashi called out, Naruto, a word. Naruto walked over, expression neutral. Up close, Kakashi could see the boy's eyes more clearly, that golden tint that seemed to pierce through deception and pretense. That technique, Kakashi said, the flying slash, where did you learn it? I didn't learn it, I developed it. Naruto's tone suggested this should be obvious. Chakra enhances physical attacks. That's basic theory. I simply extended that principle to my blade, projecting the cutting edge beyond the physical weapon. Trial and error over 6 years. That should be impossible. Chakra dissipates without proper control. Maintaining it across that distance is difficult, Naruto agreed. But not impossible. My Uzumaki heritage gives me chakra reserves far beyond normal, and my bond with Yoru lets me channel that chakra more efficiently than any jutsu. He paused. Why do you ask? Planning to copy it with your Sharingan? Kakashi shook his head. Techniques like that are personal. I could maybe replicate the mechanics, but without your strength, your blade, your chakra, it would be a shadow of the original. No, I'm asking because the Hokage needs to know what you're capable of, for mission assignments. I can kill most things, Naruto said bluntly. Jonin, summons, Biju, probably. My limitations are political, not physical. I could level this training ground if I wanted, cut through the village walls, take on entire squads alone. He met Kakashi's gaze. But I don't, because I'm not a monster, no matter what they call me. I just want to be left alone to pursue my own path. And what path is that? Strength, Freedom, standing at the summit where no one can touch me. Naruto turned to leave. Tell the Hokage I'll take whatever missions he assigns as long as they're interesting. I'm done chasing cats and weeding gardens. Give me something that matters, or give me nothing at all. He walked away, leaving Kakashi standing alone in the ruined training ground. He's not wrong, Kakashi thought. D-rank missions would be insulting. But what do you give someone who's already Jonin level? What do you do with a weapon that refuses to be aimed? The copy ninja looked at the destruction Naruto had caused with a single swing and shuddered. Because that casual demonstration had revealed something terrifying. Naruto hadn't been trying to impress them. He'd been holding back. The question wasn't whether Naruto Uzumaki was strong. The question was, how strong could he become if he ever stopped holding back? Store. Wave Country. 3 days later, Team 7 gathered at Konoha's gates. Kakashi had secured them a C-rank mission, escorting a bridge builder named Tazuna to Wave Country. Simple protection duty, perfect for new Genin. Except one of them wasn't a normal Genin. Naruto appeared last as usual. He wore his black coat and carried Yoru wrapped on his back. The Kogatana gleamed at his throat, in his hand a flask of wine. Tazuna, the client, took one look at him and paled. That's the demon brat? You're sending a demon to protect me? I'm sending my team, Kakashi said calmly. And I suggest you remember that Naruto is the strongest member. Strongest? He's a child, with some ridiculous sword that's bigger than. Naruto's eyes locked onto Tazuna. The golden tint intensified, his Haoshoku, his dominant will, pressed outward just slightly. Not enough to harm, but enough to make the bridge builder's knees weak. I am not a demon, Naruto said quietly. I am a swordsman. Insult me again and I'll leave you to your fate. Understood? Tazuna nodded mutely, suddenly very aware that this child could end him without effort. Good. Naruto's oppressive presence vanished as quickly as it had appeared. Let's move. Standing here wastes time. They set out, leaving Konoha behind. The journey to Wave would take several days on foot. Sasuke walked in silence, still processing what he'd seen at the training ground. Sakura chattered nervously, trying to fill the awkward silence. Kakashi read his book. Tazuna grumbled, and Naruto walked at the rear, his senses extended outward through Kenbun-shoku. He felt them 2 hours into the journey, hidden in the trees, following at a distance. 2 chakra signatures, Chunin level, hostile intent. We're being followed, Naruto said casually. Everyone stopped. Kakashi closed his book. Where? 3 o'clock, 50 meters, and 9 o'clock, 40 meters, staying in our blind spots, professional. Naruto didn't look back. They've been tracking us since we left the village. Kakashi's eye widened. He hadn't sensed anything, and his instincts were Jonin level. Are you sure? I don't make mistakes about these things. Naruto kept walking. Let them follow. If they attack, I'll handle it. Sure enough, 30 minutes later the ambush came. 2 figures burst from a puddle on the road, impossible since it hadn't rained, and lashed out with chain weapons aimed at Kakashi. The Jonin died dramatically, shredded by the chains. Obviously a replacement. The Demon Brothers, missing Nin from Kirigakure, turned their attention to the Genin. The demon brat first, one hissed. Kill him. Naruto's hand moved. The Kogatana detached from his neck and flickered through the air almost too fast to see. The crossblade struck one Demon Brother's chain, severing it instantly. Before the man could react, Naruto had closed the distance. The small blade pressed against the missing Nin's throat. Kirigakure Chunin, missing Nin status, bounties on your heads. Naruto's voice was clinical. You made 3 mistakes. First, assuming a puddle would fool Jonin level perception. Second, targeting me. Third, the Kogatana traced a shallow line across the man's neck, not deep enough to kill, just enough to draw blood. Attacking someone so far above your level that you might as well be attacking a natural disaster. The second Demon Brother attacked from behind, chain whipping toward Naruto's back. The boy didn't turn. The Kogatana left his hand, spinning through the air in a perfect arc. The small blade intercepted the chain, wrapped around it, and yanked. The Demon Brother went flying forward. Naruto caught him by the throat mid-flight, slamming him into the ground hard enough to crack stone. Weak, Naruto assessed. He looked at Kakashi, who'd emerged from hiding. These 2 were the threat? This is the C-rank mission? Actually, Kakashi said carefully, their presence suggests this mission has been understated. Demon Brothers don't go after bridge builders for C-rank pay. Tazuna, you want to tell us what's really going on? The bridge builders swallowed hard. Then, under the combined pressure of the team's attention and Naruto's piercing gaze, he broke. The story came out. Gato, a shipping magnate who controlled Wave Country through criminal enterprise, the bridge that would break his monopoly, the hired assassins, the likelihood of more attacks. This is an A-rank mission at minimum, Kakashi said when Tazuna finished. We should turn back, report to the Hokage, and get proper. No, Naruto interrupted. We continue. Everyone stared at him. Naruto, Kakashi said, this is beyond your teammates' abilities. If we encounter Jonin-level opposition, then I'll handle it. Naruto's tone brooked no argument. You said you wanted to see what I could do, Kakashi. Here's your chance. We continue to wave. We complete the mission. And when whoever Gato hired shows up, because someone will, I'll demonstrate exactly what it means to be the world's strongest swordsman. Sasuke spoke up, surprising everyone. I agree with the demon. Don't call me that, Naruto said sharply. Fine. I agree with Uzumaki. Sasuke's Sharingan was active, studying Naruto. I want to see what real strength looks like. If we run from this, we learn nothing. Sakura looked terrified but nodded. I trust you, Naruto-kun. Kakashi sighed. Fine, but everyone stays alert. And Naruto, if things get too dangerous, they won't. They continued toward Wave, leaving the unconscious Demon Brothers tied to a tree for Konoha retrieval teams. 3 days later, they crossed into Wave Country by boat. The mist hung heavy on the water, reducing visibility to nearly nothing. Perfect conditions for an ambush. Everyone stay close, Kakashi ordered. In this mist, someone's here, Naruto said. His Kenbunshoku had detected the presence a minute ago. Massive chakra signature, Jonin level. Hostile intent concealed behind professional killing intent. The mist thickened impossibly. Killing intent flooded the area, so thick that Sasuke froze, his body refusing to move. Sakura gasped. Even Kakashi tensed. A voice echoed through the fog. So, you're the team escorting Tazuna. I am Zabuza Momochi, demon of the hidden mist, and you're all about to. Naruto's eyes cut through the mist like beacons, the golden tint glowing. His Kenbunshoku maps his exact position despite the obscuring fog, and his Haoshoku pressed outward, matching the killing intent with his own dominant will. The mist wavered. The killing intent broke like waves against a cliff. You talk too much, Naruto said. His hand moved to Yoru's hilt. And you're in my way. Zabuza appeared on a nearby tree branch, massive cleaver sword in hand. His eyes narrowed as he took in Naruto, the black blade, the hawk-like eyes, the absolute calm despite Jonin-level killing intent. What are you? Zabuza asked. Naruto Uzumaki, world's strongest swordsman. He didn't draw Yoru. Not yet. Instead, he removed the kogatana from his neck. You're skilled, Zabuza Momochi, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen. Your executioner's blade has ended many lives. He held up the small crossblade. But you're not worthy of my black blade. This will suffice. Zabuza laughed, though it sounded forced. You're gonna fight me with that? A little knife? Kid, I'll cut you in. Naruto vanished. He reappeared directly in front of Zabuza, the kogatana pressed against the missing nine's throat. The movement had been instantaneous, faster than Zabuza could track, faster than Kakashi could follow, faster than Sasuke's Sharingan could process. You're in a pond, Naruto said calmly, thinking you're in an ocean. Let me show you the difference. He pushed off, gaining distance. Zabuza, rattled, formed hand seals. Water style, water dragon jutsu. A massive dragon of water formed and surged toward Naruto. The genin, if he could even be called that, didn't dodge. He didn't block. He cut. The kogatana swept through the air. Chakra compressed around the small blade, extending its edge. The flying slash, smaller than what Yoru could produce, but devastating nonetheless, cleaved through the water dragon vertically. The jutsu split in half, the 2 pieces splashing harmlessly to either side. Zabuza stared. That's impossible. You cut through chakra itself. Everything can be cut, Naruto said. Jutsu, chakra, stone, steel, flesh. He pointed the kogatana at Zabuza. You. The only question is whether the blade is sharp enough and the swordsman skilled enough. The mist cleared suddenly. A figure in a hunter nin mask appeared next to Zabuza. Zabuza-sama, retreat. This one is. I know, Haku, Zabuza growled. He stared at Naruto for a long moment. We'll meet again, kid. Next time I'll be ready for your tricks. They aren't tricks. And next time, I might actually have to draw Yoru. Naruto's tone suggested this would not end well for Zabuza. Run while you can. The missing nin and his companion vanished into the mist, retreating faster than pursuit. Kakashi slowly lowered his headband, covering his Sharingan. That was, Naruto, you just drove off one of the 7 ninja swordsmen using a pendant knife. He wasn't worth more. Naruto reattached the kogatana to his neck. But he'll be back. And next time, he'll bring proper support. We should reach Tazuna's house and prepare defenses. Sasuke had been silent throughout the encounter. Now he spoke, his voice shaking slightly. How? How are you this strong? We're the same age. We went to the same academy. How? Because while you were competing with classmates and seeking acknowledgement, I was training alone on an abandoned training ground, day after day, year after year, with only my blades for company. Naruto looked at Sasuke directly. Strength isn't given, Uchiha. It's earned. Every swing of the sword, every drop of blood, every moment of pain and exhaustion. That's the price of power, and I've paid it in full. He walked past the stunned team toward the boat. Let's move. We're wasting time. They continued to Tazuna's house in silence, each member of Team 7 processing what they'd witnessed. Kakashi sent a messenger hawk to Konoha, requesting backup and upgrading the mission to A rank. Sasuke trained obsessively, trying to bridge an impossible gap. Sakura watched Naruto warily, unsure whether to be grateful or terrified. And Naruto sat on the roof, drinking wine, waiting for worthy opponents to arrive. The bridge. 1 week later, they gathered on the bridge. Tazuna was building. Morning mist rolled in from the sea, thick and unnatural. He's back, Naruto said, standing at the bridge's center. Yoru was unwrapped now, planted in the wood beside him. Zabuza and the fake hunter Nin. They're serious this time. Kakashi nodded. Sasuke, Sakura, protect Tazuna. Naruto and I will handle. No. Naruto lifted Yoru, the massive black blade resting on his shoulder. You protect them, Kakashi. I'll handle this. Naruto, this is 2 Jonin-level opponents. Even you can't. Watch me. The mist thickened impossibly. Water clones emerged from the fog, dozens of them, all wielding massive cleaver swords. Zabuza's voice echoed from everywhere and nowhere. This time, demon brat, you're fighting me at full strength. In my mist, I'm invincible. You can't hit what you can't see. You can't block what comes from every direction. You're dead, and you just don't. Naruto raised Yoru with one hand and swept it in a complete horizontal circle. Kokuto Yoru, Zantetsu Kai. All-cutting revolution. The flying slash erupted from his blade in a perfect 360-degree arc. Black light expanded outward like a dome of death, cutting through everything in its path. Every water clone was bisected simultaneously. The mist itself was torn apart, dissipated by the sheer force of the attack. The bridge groaned as the slash carved through railings and supports, stopping just short of complete structural damage. When the attack faded, the entire bridge was visible. No mist, no clones, just Zabuza and Haku, standing 60 meters away, staring at the devastation. You destroyed all my clones, Zabuza said slowly, with one attack in every direction. That's child's play. Naruto pointed Yoru at them. That was me clearing the battlefield. Now we fight properly. His hawk-like eyes locked onto Haku. You're not a hunter, Nin. You're his apprentice, ice-style user, Kekai Genkai. Strong for your age, but still, he tilted his head, in a pond. Haku's mask couldn't hide their shock. How did you know? Kenbun Shoku. I can sense your true nature. Naruto's attention shifted to Zabuza. You care about them. That's admirable. It's also your weakness. Because when I cut you down, they'll try to save you, and I'll have to cut them down too. Big words for a kid with a sword, Zabuza snarled. He began forming hand seals. Naruto moved. One instant, he was at the bridge's center. The next, he stood directly in front of Zabuza, Yoru's edge pressed against the executioner's blade, stopping the massive sword mid-swing. The impact created a shockwave. The bridge groaned. Water from the ocean below splashed upward. That blade, Zabuza grunted, straining against Yoru's edge. It's not even scratched. What the hell is it made of? Legends and blood. Naruto pushed forward casually, one-handed. The force sent Zabuza skidding backward. Yoru is a Kokuto, a permanent black blade, supreme grade, one of a kind, and you're not worthy of crossing swords with it. Haku attacked from the side, Senbon needles flying like rain. Naruto didn't look. Yoru swept upward in a casual arc, creating a wall of compressed air that deflected every single needle. Koko Odan. Naruto spoke the technique name as he followed through with the slash. The flying cut screamed toward Haku at impossible speed. Haku formed ice mirrors just in time. The slash hit the frozen constructs and cut through them like paper. The ice shattered. The slash continued past, forcing Haku to dodge desperately. Where they'd been standing, a deep gouge appeared in the bridge's surface, the cut perfectly straight. "Your ice isn't strong enough," Naruto observed. "Everything can be cut. Ice, water, flesh, bone." He turned to face both opponents. "You're both skilled. In this world, you might even be considered dangerous, but you're still swimming in a pond. Let me show you the ocean." He shifted Yoru to a two-handed grip for the first time. Chakra, black and oppressive, began coating the blade. This was his Busoshoku, his chakra hardening, infused into his weapon at levels that most jonin couldn't comprehend. The air pressure changed. Even at their distance, Kakashi felt it, a suffocating weight as if the atmosphere itself was rejecting their existence. "That chakra," Kakashi breathed. "It's so dense it's almost visible." That's what a Kokuto is, a blade infused with that much chakra until it becomes permanent. Naruto raised Yoru above his head. "Zabuza Momochi, Haku, you have one chance. Leave now or I end this." Zabuza laughed bitterly. "We can't leave. Gato will kill us. We fight or we die." "Then you've already chosen." Naruto brought Yoru down in a vertical slash. Kokuto Yoru Tsubametsu. Swallow's death. The flying slash that erupted was unlike anything before. Compressed to a razor's edge, moving faster than sound, infused with enough chakra to be visible, a black line that cut through reality itself. Zabuza threw up his executioner's blade to block. The slash hit. The legendary weapon, one of the 7 swords, cracked. A hairline fracture appeared down its length, the metal unable to withstand the impact. Then the slash continued past, grazing Zabuza's shoulder. Blood sprayed. The missing 9 cried out, dropping to one knee. "Zabuza-sama!" Haku rushed to his side, ice needles forming to attack Naruto. "Stop!" Naruto's voice cut through the chaos. He hadn't moved from his position. Yoru still held overhead from the finishing position of his strike. But his eyes, those hawk-like, golden-tinted eyes, locked onto Haku with an intensity that froze them in place. "You care about him," Naruto observed, "and he cares about you. That's rare, worth respecting." He lowered Yoru slowly. "I could kill you both, right now. One more slash and you're dead, but I'm not interested in hunting rabbits." "Then what do you want?" Haku demanded, voice breaking. "Ambition, that's the strongest blade of all." Naruto planted Yoru in the bridge. "Zabuza, you fight for Gato. Wani? Purpose? What drives a man to become a missing Nin, hunted by his own village?" Zabuza looked up, his expression pained from the shoulder wound. "Dreams. I wanted to change Kirigakure, overthrow the Mizukage, create a better." He coughed, blood on his lips. "Doesn't matter now. Failed, became a tool instead of a revolutionary. Dreams aren't failures until you give up on them," Naruto said. "You're strong enough to matter, Zabuza. Your mistake was working for someone like Gato, a coward who hides behind hired killers." He looked toward the far end of the bridge. Speaking of which, footsteps echoed. A short man in an expensive suit appeared, flanked by over 100 mercenaries and thugs. Gato himself come to watch his assassins work. "What's taking so long?" Gato called out. "Kill them already! I'm not paying you to." He stopped, seeing the cracked executioner's blade and Zabuza's condition. "You failed? You pathetic. Fine, I don't need you." He turned to his thugs. "Kill them all. The missing 9, the bridge builder, the brat with the sword, everyone. I'll find new assassins." Zabuza's face went pale, not from blood loss, from the realization that he'd been betrayed. "Gato, you said?" "I lied." Gato laughed. "Did you really think I'd pay full price? You're disposable. All of you." Silence fell over the bridge. Even the thugs looked uncertain, facing Naruto and his massive black blade. Then Naruto laughed, not a cheerful laugh, a cold, mirthless sound that made everyone's skin crawl. "Thank you, Gato," Naruto said. "You just made this much simpler." He pulled Yoru from the bridge and pointed it at the army of thugs. "All of you, leave now or die. I'm giving you one chance." "There's one of him and 100 of us," someone shouted. "He's just a kid with..." Naruto's Haoshoku exploded outward. It wasn't killing intent. It wasn't chakra pressure. It was pure, dominant will, the projection of someone who'd never bowed, never broken, never submitted to any force in existence. 50 thugs collapsed instantly, unconscious before they hit the ground. The remaining 50 froze, terror overwhelming rational thought. Their weapons clattered to the bridge, dropped by nerveless fingers. What is this? Gato stumbled backward. What are you? I am Naruto Uzumaki. He began walking forward slowly, Yoru held casually in one hand. World's strongest swordsman, wielder of the black blade Yoru, and the last person you'll ever threaten. Stay back. Gato pulled a knife and held it to his own throat. Stay back or You'll what? Kill yourself? Save me the effort. Naruto's eyes were cold. You've built an empire on fear, controlled an entire country through intimidation, hired assassins to kill anyone who threatened your profits. And now, when faced with real power, you cower. He stopped 10 meters away. I don't respect weakness. I don't respect cowardice. And I especially don't respect those who threaten innocent people for profit. He raised Yoru, pointing it directly at Gato. Any last words? Please. Gato dropped the knife, falling to his knees. Please, I'll pay anything, give you anything. I don't want your money. I want your life. Naruto swung Yoru. The slash wasn't even a flying cut, just the edge passing through air, creating wind pressure. That was enough. The wind blade hit Gato and cut him cleanly in half at the waist. The two pieces of the criminal overlord collapsed, blood pooling across the bridge. The remaining thugs broke and ran, screaming. Naruto let them go. They weren't worth the effort to chase. He turned back to Zabuza and Haku, Yoru still in hand. Your employer is dead. Your contract is void. What will you do now? Zabuza struggled to stand, supported by Haku. I don't know. Keep running, I guess. Find another employer. Or, Naruto said, you could find a real purpose. You wanted to change Kirigakure. That ambition is still valid. The Mizukage is controlled by someone. I can sense the wrongness even from here. Go back, gather allies, start a real revolution, not a failed coup. You're advising me to overthrow a Kage? Zabuza laughed weakly. Kid, you're insane. No, I'm strong enough that I don't fear the consequences. Naruto resheathed Yoru, wrapping the blade. And I recognize ambition when I see it. You have the skill and the will. What you lacked was purpose. Now you have it. Haku looked at Naruto with something like awe. Why? Why spare us? Help us. Because you're not rabbits. You're worthy of respect. Naruto turned away. Now go. If I see you again, and you're still working for trash like Gato, I won't spare you twice. Zabuza met Haku's eyes. Some unspoken communication passed between them. Then the missing 9 bowed, a deep, respectful bow that no one forced from him. Thank you, Naruto Uzumaki. We won't forget this. They vanished in a water substitution, leaving Team 7 alone on the blood-stained bridge. Kakashi walked up slowly, his visible eye wide with shock. Naruto, what you just did, killing Gato, sparing Zabuza, was not protocol. The mission was to protect Tazuna, not execute criminal overlords. The mission was to protect Wave Country, Naruto corrected. Gato was the threat. I eliminated the threat. Contract fulfilled. He looked at Tazuna. Your bridge is safe now. Finish it. Name it whatever you want. Tazuna, tears streaming down his face, bowed deeply. Thank you, all of you, but especially you, Naruto. You saved not just me, but our entire country. Don't thank me. I didn't do it for you. Naruto started walking toward the far end of the bridge. I did it because someone needed to, and I was strong enough to do it. As they left Wave Country 3 days later, Tazuna having announced plans to name the bridge the Great Naruto Bridge, Kakashi filed his report. He tried to put into words what he'd witnessed, but every phrase felt inadequate. Genin Naruto Uzumaki engaged and defeated Jonin-level opposition with minimal effort. Demonstrated abilities including flying slash techniques capable of mass destruction, chakra sensing at range, presence-based intimidation, and swordsmanship beyond any classification I possess. Recommend immediate reclassification to Special Jonin Minimum, possibly Anbu level. Additional note, subject displays concerning independence. Follows missions but not necessarily orders. Makes tactical decisions without consulting team leader. Possesses moral compass but not aligned with standard Konoha protocols. Suggest monitoring but not confrontation. Based on demonstrated abilities, force-based control would likely fail and create an enemy we cannot afford. Kakashi Hatake, Jonin Commander. Hiruzen read the report 3 times, each reading making him more concerned. He'd known Naruto was strong. He hadn't realized the boy had reached a level where even Konoha's jonin weren't safe engaging him. "He's become what I feared," the third Hokage said to the empty room. "A power unto himself, answerable to no one, bound by no law except his own code." But when he looked out his window at the village below, at the civilians going about their lives in peace, he couldn't quite call it a failure. Naruto Uzumaki protected Konoha, just not the way the Hokage wanted. Not as a weapon to be aimed, but as a force of nature that happened to call this place home. For now, that would have to be enough. The Chunin exams. 2 months after Wave Country, Kakashi entered the Hokage's office with a recommendation form. Hiruzen looked at it and sighed. "You want to enter them in the Chunin exams? Already?" "Naruto is ready, more than ready." Kakashi set the form on the desk. Keeping him at Genin rank is a joke. Everyone knows it, and after Wave Country, word has spread. Other villages have heard about the Hawkeye demon. They'll want to test him. "That's what concerns me." Hiruzen pulled out his pipe. "The Chunin exams are as much political theater as they are testing. If Naruto demonstrates his full abilities in front of foreign dignitaries, then they'll know Konoha has a monster," Kakashi finished. "But Hokage-sama, they already suspect. The rumors from Wave Country reach Suna, Kumo, even Iwa. Hiding his strength now accomplishes nothing except making us look weak." The third considered this. Finally, he stamped the form. "Fine. But Kakashi, keep him in check. No killing unless absolutely necessary. No international incidents. The exams are meant to demonstrate strength, not cut through the forest of death with flying slashes." Kakashi smiled behind his mask. "I'll do my best. But you know Naruto. He does what he thinks is right, not what we order." "I know." Hiruzen looked tired suddenly. "That's what worries me." The Chunin exams began 3 days later. Teams from across the elemental nations gathered in Konoha, filling the academy building with ambitious genin eager to prove themselves. Naruto walked in late, as usual. He wore his black coat, yoro wrapped on his back, kogatana at his throat. His presence immediately drew attention. "Is that him?" someone whispered. "The demon with the cursed blade? I heard he killed 50 people in Wave Country with one slash." No, he killed 100, and one of the 7 swordsmen ran away." The rumors had grown with each retelling, becoming legend. Naruto ignored them all. He found Team 7's assigned seats and sat down, pulling out his wine flask. A proctor looked about to protest drinking in the exam room, then saw who was drinking and decided it wasn't worth the confrontation. The first exam was written. Naruto found it tedious. Questions about tactics, history, code breaking, all things he'd studied on his own over the years. He finished in 10 minutes and spent the rest of the hour drinking and watching other examinees struggle. When they moved to the second exam, the Forest of Death, things got interesting. The proctor, Anko Mitarashi, gave her speech about danger and death and signing waivers. Then she grinned at Naruto specifically. "Heard you're strong, demon brat. Let's see if you can survive my forest." Naruto met her eyes calmly. "The forest should worry about surviving me." Several teams laughed nervously. Anko's grin widened. "Cocky. I like it. Try not to die too quickly." Team 7 received their scroll, Earth, and entered the forest. The rules were simple. Reach the tower in the center within 5 days, having acquired both Earth and Heaven scrolls. They'd barely made it 100 meters before Naruto stopped. 3 teams, hiding in the trees, all carrying Heaven scrolls. How convenient. "How can you possibly know that?" Sakura asked. "Kenbunshoku, I told you before." He drew the kogatana from his neck. "I'll handle this. You two stay here." "Wait," Sasuke said. "We should work together." Naruto vanished. 1 second he stood there. The next, he was gone. 20 seconds later, 3 unconscious teams lay in a clearing, their Heaven scrolls confiscated. Naruto returned and tossed one to Kakashi. "Mission complete. Let's head to the tower." You knocked out 3 teams in 20 seconds? Sakura gaped. "I could have done it faster, but I was being careful not to kill anyone." Naruto started walking. "The Hokage requested no unnecessary deaths, so I pulled my strikes." They reached the tower in 3 hours, a journey that usually took days. Naruto had simply carved a straight path through the forest, his Kenbunshoku warning him of any obstacles or opponents. Teams that tried to ambush them found themselves facing the kogatana and quickly unconscious. By the time other teams started arriving, Team 7 had been waiting at the tower for days. Naruto spent the time on the roof, drinking wine and watching the sky. When the second exam ended, only 7 teams remained out of the original 26. Most had been eliminated by each other, but a significant number had run into Naruto and decided not to continue. The proctors announced the preliminary matches. Too many genin remained, so they'd hold one-on-one fights to trim the numbers before the final exam. Naruto's name appeared on the board. Naruto Uzumaki versus Kiba Inuzuka. Kiba, an Inuzuka clan member with his 9-dog Akamaru, swaggered to the arena floor. "Finally, I've been wanting to take you down a peg, demon. Everyone thinks you're so strong, but..." Naruto appeared in front of him. The Kogatana pressed against Kiba's forehead. The movement had been instantaneous. "Yield," Naruto said calmly. "You're not worth injuring." Kiba's bravado evaporated. Up close, with that small blade touching his skin, he felt it, the razor edge, the absolute control, the casual certainty that Naruto could end him without effort. "I yield," Kiba whispered. The proctor, Hayate Gecko, coughed awkwardly. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki. That was the fastest match in Chunin exam history. Naruto returned the Kogatana to his neck and walked back to the observation area. Behind him, Kiba collapsed to his knees, shaking from the adrenaline crash. The other matches proceeded. Sasuke fought Yoroi Akado and won through chakra control and his growing Sharingan mastery. Sakura fought Ino and lost after a good effort. Various genin from other villages demonstrated their skills. Then Gaara of the Sand faced off against a Konoha genin named Rock Lee. Naruto watched this match with interest. Gaara was different. His chakra was wrong somehow, twisted and malevolent. There was something inside him, something similar to what Naruto carried, but darker, less controlled. A Jinchuriki, Naruto realized. Like me. But his Biju is taking control. Shukaku, probably, based on the sand manipulation. Lee fought valiantly, even opening several of the 8 gates to match Gaara's sand defense. But ultimately, the sand crushed him, nearly killing the taijutsu specialist. The proctor stopped the match just in time. Lee was carried off on a stretcher, his injuries severe. Gaara's empty eyes swept the room, searching for something. They landed on Naruto. Recognition flashed, monster to monster. Gaara's sand began swirling automatically, defensive reflexes triggered by Naruto's oppressive presence. "You," Gaara said, his voice hollow, "your blood would prove my existence." Naruto met his gaze calmly. "Try it, and I'll put you down before your sand moves. Jinchuriki or not, you're still swimming in a pond." The temperature in the room dropped. Gaara's killing intent spiked. Naruto's Hao Shoku rose to meet it. The two forces clashed invisibly, creating pressure that made every other genin in the room step back instinctively. "Both of you, stop!" Hayate ordered. "Save it for the final matches." Slowly, reluctantly, both withdrew their presence, but the message had been sent. They would fight. Soon, the preliminary matches concluded. The finals would be held in 1 month, giving participants time to train and heal. The matchups were announced. Naruto Uzumaki versus Gaara of the Sand, Sasuke Uchiha versus Neji Hyuga, Shino Aburame versus Kankuro of the Sand, Shikamaru Nara versus Temari of the Sand. 1 month, the Hokage announced from his observation box. "Train well, your villages are watching." That night, Naruto stood on his apartment roof, Yoru planted in the shingles beside him. He could sense movement throughout the village, Anbu patrols, foreign visitors, and something else. Something wrong. His Kenbun-shoku detected them, dozens of chakra signatures moving through Konoha's underground. Not hostile yet, but ready, waiting. An invasion, Naruto realized. They're planning to attack during the finals, using the exams as cover. He could warn the Hokage, should warn the Hokage. But a part of him, the part that wanted to test his full strength against worthy opponents, hesitated. Let them come. Let them bring their armies. He'd demonstrate exactly what it meant to be the world's strongest swordsman. His hand rested on Yoru's hilt. The black blade hummed beneath his touch, eager. 1 month, Naruto said to the night. Then the world sees what real strength looks like. It's thick. The invasion. The final matches took place in a massive arena constructed specifically for the Chunin exams. Thousands of spectators, civilians, shinobi, foreign dignitaries filled the seats. The Hokage sat in his observation box, flanked by the Kazekage and various other officials. Naruto stood in the arena center, facing Gaara across 50 meters of open ground. The red-haired Jinchuriki's eyes were wild, his sand swirling in agitated patterns around his body. Finally, Gaara breathed. "I'll kill you and prove." "You'll try," Naruto interrupted. He hadn't drawn any weapon yet. "But first, let me ask you something. That thing inside you, Shukaku, do you control it, or does it control you?" Gaara's expression twisted. "It's me! I am Shukaku! We are one!" "No, you're a scared child letting a monster make your decisions." Naruto's hawk-like eyes studied Gaara with something approaching pity. "I'm a Jinchuriki too. The Nine Tails is sealed inside me, but I don't let it define me. I define me." The crowd murmured in shock. This was classified information, suddenly announced in a public arena. The Hokage half rose from his seat, but it was too late to take back. "The Nine Tails?" someone gasped. "The demon brat really is." "I'm not a demon," Naruto said loudly, his voice carrying through the stadium. "I'm a container, a prison for a monster that tried to destroy this village 12 years ago. The fourth Hokage sealed it inside me to save you all. And every day since, you've treated me like I'm the monster instead of the cage holding it." His Haoshoku pulsed outward, not aggressive, just present, a reminder of his power. "But I don't care what you think. I don't need your acknowledgement or your approval. I am Naruto Uzumaki, world's strongest swordsman, and I'll prove it right now." He turned his attention back to Gaara. "So, want to see the difference between someone who controls their power and someone who's controlled by it?" Gaara screamed. Sand exploded outward, forming a wave that crashed toward Naruto like a tsunami. Naruto drew the Kogatana, one hand, one small blade. He swept it in a horizontal arc. The flying slash, compressed air and chakra, cleaved through the sand wave like it was mist. The attack parted cleanly, flowing harmlessly around Naruto. "Is that your best?" Naruto asked calmly. "Then let me show you mine." He unwrapped Yoru. The black blade gleamed in the sunlight as he lifted it one-handed. Chakra, black as midnight, dense enough to be visible, coated the weapon. His Busoshoku, displayed for all to see. The pressure in the stadium increased. Spectators found it hard to breathe. Weaker genin in the stands passed out from the oppressive presence. Gaara formed more sand, creating a massive shield. "Ultimate defense, my sand will!" Naruto swung Yoru, Kokuto Yoru, Koko Odan. The flying slash erupted from his blade like a black meteor. It crossed the arena in a heartbeat, moving faster than most could see. It hit Gaara's ultimate defense. The sand shattered like glass. The slash continued through, forcing Gaara to dodge desperately. Where he'd been standing, a massive gouge appeared in the arena floor, 10 meters long, 2 meters deep, perfectly straight. "That was my casual slash," Naruto said. "The kind I use for warm-up exercises. Want me to get serious?" Gaara's sand armor was cracking. Blood trickled from his cheek where a fragment of his own sand had cut him. For the first time in years, he'd been injured. "Blood!" Gaara shrieked. "My blood, I'll kill you!" He began transforming. Shukaku's influence surged forward, creating a partial transformation. Sand formed into a monstrous arm, a tail, parts of the Biju's body. The Kazekage stood suddenly. "That's enough! Stop the—" His voice cut off. The Hokage beside him had frozen, eyes wide, because the Kazekage had just dropped his disguise slightly, revealing another face beneath. Orochimaru. "Actually," the snake Sannin hissed, "let's make this more interesting." He formed a hand seal. All around the stadium, sound and sand ninja revealed themselves. Genjutsu fell over the civilians, forcing them into sleep. Prepared barriers activated, trapping the Hokage and other important figures. The invasion had begun. Naruto sensed it all through his Kenbunshoku. He'd known this was coming, and he decided to let it play out, because, "Finally," Naruto said, his voice cutting through the chaos, "a real battle." He looked up at Orochimaru, who just formed a barrier around himself and the Hokage. Sannin-level threat. Interesting. And all these soldiers, his gaze swept across the invading forces, are just bonuses. He planted Yoru in the ground and removed his black coat, hanging it carefully on the blade's crossguard again, this time with both hands. "Gaara of the Sand," Naruto said. "Our match is suspended. New priority, defending Konoha from invasion." He pointed Yoru at the transforming Jinchuriki. "You can either help or get out of my way." Gaara, partially transformed into Shukaku, hesitated. His instincts, the monster's instincts, recognized true danger. This blonde boy with the black blade was wrong somehow. Too powerful, too much. Gaara struggled against Shukaku's control. "I don't—" Then watch, Naruto said. Watch what real strength looks like. He turned to face the invading army flooding into the stadium. Over 200 enemy shinobi, ranging from Genin to Jonin level. Behind them, massive summoning techniques were bringing in creatures, snakes, the size of buildings. Any normal Genin would run. Any normal Jonin would call for backup. Any sane person would retreat and let Anbu handle it. Naruto raised Yoru above his head. His Busoshoku flared, his Haoshoku expanded, and his eyes, those hawk-like golden-tinted eyes, locked onto the enemy forces with predatory intensity. All of you, he announced, his voice carrying through the stadium with unnatural clarity, are in my way. He brought Yoru down in a vertical slash that could split mountains. Kokuto Yoru, Sekai Odan, world-crossing slash. The flying cut that erupted was unlike anything Konoha had ever seen. Black and red chakra compressed into a blade of pure destruction, 50 meters wide, extending toward the sky like a pillar of annihilation. It carved through the enemy forces like they were mist. Shinobi screamed. Summons howled. The very earth split open, creating a canyon that bisected the stadium and continued into the forest beyond. When the dust settled, half the invasion force was simply gone, not dead, vaporized. The slash had been so sharp, so powerful, that those caught in it hadn't even had time to bleed before their bodies separated. The survivors stared in horror at the devastation. One attack, one swing of that cursed black blade, and their invasion had been cut in half. That, Naruto said into the shocked silence, was me getting serious. He lifted Yoru again, this time holding it one-handed. Who's next? No one moved. No one dared. Because in that moment, every person in the stadium, ally or enemy, understood a fundamental truth. Naruto Uzumaki wasn't just strong. He was a natural disaster in human form. A walking calamity that had chosen through mercy or whim not to destroy everything around him. Until now. Run! Someone screamed. The surviving invaders broke formation, fleeing in every direction. Naruto let them go. They weren't worth chasing. His attention shifted to the barrier around the Hokage. Orochimaru and Hiruzen were fighting inside, the Sanen's techniques clashing with the Hokage's experienced mastery. But the barrier was too strong for Naruto to simply cut through. It was designed to withstand even Biju-level attacks. He'd need a different approach. Sasuke, Naruto called. The Uchiha had been frozen in shock, watching the devastation. Kakashi, Sakura, get the civilians to safety. I'm going after the Hokage. That barrier, Kakashi said, having arrived during the chaos, was created by the Sound Four, supposedly unbreakable from the outside. If you try to. I'm not breaking it from the outside. Naruto pointed Yoru at one of the barrier's creators, a sound ninja maintaining the seal from outside. I'm removing the source. The Kogatana left his neck and flickered through the air. The small blade struck the sound ninja's hand, forcing him to release the seal. The barrier flickered. Naruto moved. He appeared at the barrier's edge just as it collapsed, Yoru already in motion. The massive blade swept toward Orochimaru, who barely dodged. The demon brat, Orochimaru hissed. Interesting. I was hoping to see you in action. Then you're about to be disappointed, Naruto said, because this ends quickly. He engaged Orochimaru directly. The snake Sanin was skilled, Kage-level technique and experience. But against Naruto's pure physical dominance and sword mastery, he was outmatched. Yoru carved through Orochimaru's snake summons like they were paper. The Kogatana deflected kunai and poisoned weapons. And whenever the Sanin tried to use ninjutsu, Naruto's flying slashes disrupted the technique before it could fully form. This is impossible, Orochimaru snarled, reforming after another near miss. You're just a genin. How can you? Because I trained alone every day for 6 years while you relied on stolen techniques and shortcuts. Naruto's Yoru came down in a vertical slash that Orochimaru barely avoided. The attack carved through the stadium wall behind him. Real strength isn't shortcuts, Orochimaru. It's dedication. The snake Sanin realized he was losing. Against all logic and expectations, this 12-year-old demon child was pushing him back. Another time, then, Orochimaru said. He formed seals for an escape technique. Naruto's Kogatana embedded itself in Orochimaru's shoulder, disrupting the chakra flow. The escape failed. You don't get to run, Naruto said coldly. Not after invading my home. He appeared in front of Orochimaru, Yoru held in both hands. The black blade rose, ready to end the Sanin permanently. But the Hokage's voice stopped him. Naruto, stand down! Hiruzen stood weakly, having used significant chakra during his own battle. He's mine to finish. This is my responsibility. Naruto hesitated. He could ignore the Hokage, could end Orochimaru right here, right now. But the old man's tone held something Naruto respected. Personal accountability. Fine, Naruto said. He stepped back, pulling his kogatana from Orochimaru's shoulder. But if he escapes, it's on you. What followed was the legendary battle between student and master. The Hokage used Edo Tensei, summoning the first and second Hokages to fight Orochimaru. The technique drained him severely, but it worked. Orochimaru was pushed back, his arms sealed, his invasion broken. When the dust settled, the third Hokage stood victorious but dying. The Reaper Death Seal had taken its toll. Naruto knelt beside the old man as medics rushed over. You didn't have to use that technique. Yes, I did. Hiruzen smiled weakly. Some debts must be paid in full. Naruto, I know I failed you. Failed to protect you from the village's hatred. Failed to stop them from treating you as a demon. You tried, Naruto said. That's more than most. Not enough. Never enough. Blood trickled from Hiruzen's mouth. But you've become so strong. Stronger than I ever imagined. Promise me. Promise you'll protect this village. Not because they deserve it, but because it's the right thing to do. Naruto was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded. I'll protect Konoha, in my own way, by my own rules, but I will protect it. That's all I can ask. The third Hokage's eyes closed for the final time. Thank you, Naruto. The funeral was held 3 days later. All of Konoha attended, mourning the loss of the third Hokage. Naruto stood at the back, separate from the crowd, Yora planted in the ground beside him. They'd won. The invasion had been repelled. Orochimaru had escaped, but his arms were sealed. A major victory. Casualties were surprisingly low, thanks to Naruto's initial devastating slash that had broken the invasion's back. But the cost was still high. The Hokage was dead, the village was shaken, and the world now knew exactly what Naruto Uzumaki was capable of. Reports were already spreading. The Hawkeye demon who'd cut an entire army in half with one swing. The genin who'd fought a Sannin to a standstill. The Jinchuriki who'd revealed his status publicly and dared anyone to do something about it. Bingo books across the nations were being updated. Naruto's bounty skyrocketed, and every village that heard the story added the same warning. Do not engage unless absolutely necessary. Flee if possible. Kaja-level threat. Naruto didn't care about any of it. He stood at the funeral, honoring a man who tried, however imperfectly, to be kind to a child everyone else had hated. When the ceremony ended, a new problem presented itself. Konoha needed a new Hokage. The council convened to discuss candidates, and surprisingly, one name came up repeatedly in backroom discussions: Naruto Uzumaki. He's too young, one elder protested. Only 12. It's impossible. He's stronger than anyone in the village, another countered. He drove off Orochimaru, cut down an invasion force. If strength determines the Hokage isn't just strength, Danzo interrupted. It's experience, leadership, willingness to sacrifice for the village. The boy has shown none of those qualities. The debate raged for hours. Ultimately, they settled on a temporary solution. Send for Tsunade, the legendary medical ninja and one of the Sannin. She'd be the 5th Hokage. But the fact that Naruto's name had even been suggested sent shockwaves through the village. A 12-year-old genin, seriously considered for the position of Kage. The world was changing, and Naruto Uzumaki stood at the center of that change, whether he wanted to or not. 2 weeks after the funeral, Naruto stood once again atop the Hokage monument, his usual spot, his refuge from the village below. Yoru rested against his shoulder. His wine cup caught the evening light, and his hawk-like eyes watched the village he protected but never truly belonged to. You came, Naruto said without turning. He'd sensed Kakashi's approach minutes ago. The copy ninja joined him at the cliff's edge. The council wants to talk to you about your status, your future with the village. Let me guess, they want to control me, chain me to missions and orders and protocols. Naruto took a sip of wine. Make me into a proper weapon. Something like that. Kakashi pulled out his Ika Icha book but didn't open it. For what it's worth, I told them it was a stupid idea. You're not the type to be controlled. No, I'm not. Naruto finished his wine and set the cup aside. I'll stay in Konoha, Kakashi, for now. Because the Hokage asked me to protect it, and I respect debts. But I won't be their soldier. I won't follow orders blindly, and if they try to cage me..." He didn't finish the threat. He didn't need to. The gouge in the stadium floor still being repaired was message enough. Understood. Kakashi was quiet for a moment. "You know, when I first met you, I thought you were like Sensei, that same confidence, that same presence. But I was wrong." "How so?" "Sensei became strong to protect others. You became strong to protect yourself." Kakashi looked at him directly. "I'm not saying one is better than the other, just different. And I wonder sometimes what will happen when you finally find what you're looking for." "What I'm looking for," Naruto considered this. "Freedom, power, standing at the summit where no one can reach me." He paused. "But maybe there's more. The Hokage talked about protecting people because it's right, not because they deserve it. I never understood that. But after the invasion, seeing the village rally together..." He trailed off, unwilling to articulate the feeling. That maybe, just maybe, being alone at the top wasn't the only path. "Growth," Kakashi said. "That's what I'm seeing. You're still the strongest genin, possibly strongest person in Konoha, but you're starting to ask questions beyond, how do I get stronger? That's good, Naruto. That's what separates swordsmen from butchers. Philosophical tonight, aren't you?" "I have my moments." Kakashi finally opened his book. "Anyway, the council can wait. Tsunade will arrive in a few days to become 5th Hokage. Until then, enjoy your freedom, because once she takes the hat, she'll have opinions about your status." "Let her have opinions. I have a sword." Kakashi laughed despite himself. "Fair enough. Try not to cut her in half, though. We just got a new Hokage. Losing another one would look bad." He vanished in a swirl of leaves, leaving Naruto alone once more. The blonde swordsman looked out over Konoha as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. Somewhere out there, Orochimaru was healing and planning revenge. Other villages were reassessing their strategies based on Naruto's demonstrated power. The Akatsuki organization, he'd heard whispers, would eventually come for him and his Biju. More battles, more opponents, more tests of his strength. Naruto smiled slightly. Good. He'd been bored lately. Let them come. Let them bring their armies, their techniques, their ambitions. He was Naruto Uzumaki, world's strongest swordsman, wielder of the Black Blade Yoru, and he stood ready for whatever came next. "The seas I'm looking at," he said to the evening air, "are finally starting to get interesting." Behind him, Yoru hummed in agreement, a weapon forged for legends, wielded by someone worthy of its name. Night fell over Konoha, and atop the monument, a hawk-eyed demon watched over the village he'd saved, waiting for the next challenge worthy of his blade. The night wind carried the scent of smoke and settling dust across Konoha. 3 days had passed since the 3rd Hokage's funeral. 3 days since Naruto had stood atop the monument and declared his intentions to Kakashi. The village below had begun repairs, scaffolding rising where buildings had fallen during the invasion. Life, as it always did, continued. But Naruto's Kenbun-shoku told him that life was about to become significantly more complicated. He sensed them approaching from 5 different directions. Anbu, not the usual patrol patterns. These were coordinated, purposeful. 12 signatures converging on his position. Behind them, further back, 2 stronger presences he recognized. Jiraiya of the Sannin recently returned to the village, and someone else. Someone with massive chakra reserves and medical precision in their control. Tsunade had arrived. Naruto didn't move from his seated position against Yoru's blade. He simply waited, wine cup in hand, as the Anbu materialized around him in a perfect circle. 12 masked shinobi, hands near weapons, bodies tense. Naruto Uzumaki, the one with the cat mask, spoke. "The council requests your immediate presence. You are to come peacefully and no." The single word hung in the air like a blade's edge. The Anbu shifted, uncertain. They'd been briefed on what Naruto could do, had seen the aftermath of his battle with Orochimaru, knew the canyon he'd carved through the invasion force. But orders were orders. "This is not a request," Kat continued. "The council has questions about your actions during the invasion, about your status as a Jinchuriki, about whether you pose a threat to." Naruto's eyes opened fully, that golden tint intensifying. His Hao-shoku pressed outward, not aggressively, just enough to remind them exactly who they were speaking to. 4 Anbu collapsed immediately, unconscious before they hit the monument stone surface. The remaining 8 stumbled, fighting to stay upright against the oppressive presence. I protected this village, Naruto said calmly. I killed its enemies. I saved lives that would have been lost. And now the council wants to question whether I'm a threat? He took a sip of wine. Tell them this. I am Naruto Uzumaki, world's strongest swordsman. I answer to no one. If they wish to speak with me, they can ask politely. If they wish to threaten me, he gestured casually at the unconscious Anbu. This is me being merciful. Stand down. Jiraiya's voice boomed as he appeared in a swirl of leaves, white hair wild, forehead protector gleaming. Beside him materialized Tsunade, legendary medical ninja, granddaughter of the first Hokage, and by the look on her face, thoroughly unimpressed with the situation. All of you, back to your posts, Tsunade ordered the Anbu. Now. The conscious ones retreated quickly, dragging their unconscious comrades. Smart. Naruto respected that. Knowing when to retreat was as important as knowing when to fight. Tsunade studied Naruto with sharp brown eyes. She'd heard the reports, read Kakashi's assessment, listened to Jiraiya's excited rambling about the most talented bladesman I've ever seen. But seeing him in person was different. The boy, and he was still just 12 despite everything, sat with perfect posture against that massive black sword. His eyes held the weight of someone much older, someone who'd seen too much and learned to care too little. The oppressive presence he displayed moments ago had vanished completely, leaving only calm indifference. You must be Tsunade, Naruto said. The 5th Hokage, I assume. Congratulations on the promotion. Don't patronize me, brat. Tsunade crossed her arms. I've been hearing about you for 3 days straight. The demon child who cut an army in half, the Jinchuriki who announced his status in front of half the shinobi world, the genin who fought Orochimaru to a standstill. She paused. And apparently, the pain in the ass who just knocked out 4 Anbu for delivering a message. They threatened me. I responded proportionally. Naruto's tone suggested this should be obvious. If I'd wanted them dead, they would be. That's what concerns me. Tsunade moved closer, and Jiraiya tensed slightly, ready to intervene if necessary. You have power beyond most jonin. You're a Jinchuriki of the 9 tails. You've shown no particular loyalty to Konoha's command structure, and you just publicly humiliated the council's authority. Why shouldn't I view you as a threat? Naruto considered this question seriously. Most would have bristled at the accusation. Most would have defended themselves passionately. But Naruto simply evaluated the logic and responded honestly. You should view me as a threat, he said, because I am one. To enemies of this village, to those who would harm the few people I respect, to anyone foolish enough to challenge me. He met Tsunade's gaze directly. But I am not your enemy, Hokage. The 3rd asked me to protect Konoha. I gave my word. I keep my promises. Even if it means following orders you disagree with? Naruto stood slowly, Yoru rising with him. Even sheathed, the black blade radiated menace. I will protect this village. I will eliminate its enemies. I will honor my word to the 3rd, but I will not be your weapon to aim. I will not follow orders blindly, and I will not cage myself in your command structure. He planted Yoru's tip against the stone. Those are my terms. Accept them or don't. But understand that whether you accept or not, they don't change. Jiraiya whistled low. Kid's got stones, I'll give him that. He's got an ego, Tsunade corrected, and an inflated sense of his own importance. Is it inflated if it's accurate? Naruto asked. I am the strongest person in this village. That's not arrogance, it's observable fact. I could destroy the council chambers from here with one slash of Yoru. I could level half the village if I chose, but I don't. Because power without purpose is just destruction. He tilted his head slightly. The question isn't whether I'm strong enough to be a threat. The question is whether you're wise enough to accept that some forces can't be controlled, only directed. Tsunade was silent for a long moment. She dealt with powerful shinobi before, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, her grandfather's legacy. But this was different. This was a 12-year-old who spoke with the absolute certainty of someone who'd never been proven wrong about his own abilities. And worst of all, from everything she'd heard, he probably wasn't wrong. Fine, she said finally. You want to operate independently? You can have it, but on 2 conditions. First, you take missions when assigned. You don't have to like them, but you complete them. Second, if I call for you in an emergency, true emergency, not political theater, you respond. Deal? Acceptable. Naruto sat back down against Yoru. Was there anything else, or can I return to my evening? Actually, Jiraiya interjected, there is. We found something while searching Orochimaru's abandoned hideouts. Something you should see. He pulled out a scroll, old and weathered, marked with the Uzumaki clan symbol. This was hidden deep, protected by seals that took me 2 days to crack. It's about Yoru, about your sword's history. That got Naruto's attention. His hand moved to Yoru's hilt unconsciously. What about it? According to this, Yoru isn't just a supreme-grade blade, it's a legacy weapon. Forged by the Uzumaki clan's founder over 300 years ago, infused with chakra from every clan head since. Jiraiya's expression was serious. And it has a curse. Anyone not of direct Uzumaki bloodline who touches it with intent to wield dies within moments. But for those of the bloodline, it grows stronger, Naruto finished. He'd suspected as much. The way Yoru resonated with his chakra, the way it seemed to drink in his Busoshoku and amplify it. What else does it say? That it was created for a purpose, to be wielded by the one who would stand at the world's summit, the Uzumaki, who would surpass all others in strength and will. Jiraiya met Naruto's eyes. Your ancestors called him the hawk-eyed demon. They prophesied his coming, and they left Yoru waiting for him. Naruto absorbed this information without visible reaction. Internally, pieces clicked into place. Why Yoru had accepted him so readily when he'd found it 6 years ago, abandoned in that old Uzumaki shrine. Why it grew stronger as he did. Why it never felt like just a weapon, but an extension of himself. A prophecy, he said quietly. How dramatic. It gets better, Tsunade added, pulling out her own scroll. I've been reviewing the Uzumaki clan records we still have. Your father was the 4th Hokage, Minato Namikaze. Your mother was Kushina Uzumaki, the previous Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. She paused. They died sealing the Nine-Tails into you, protecting the village. I know. Naruto's voice was flat. I figured it out years ago. The timing, the seal, the way people looked at me. Wasn't hard to deduce. You knew and you never said anything? Why would I? Naruto looked at her like she'd asked a stupid question. Knowing who my parents were doesn't change who I am. They made their choice. I make mine. Their legacy is their legacy. Mine is my own. Jiraiya shook his head, something like sadness crossing his face. Minato was my student, one of the best shinobi I ever trained, and Kushina was a firecracker, strongest Uzumaki of her generation. They would have wanted to know you, to raise you. But they didn't. They're dead. Naruto stood, lifting Yoru. Thank you for the information about the sword. It explains some things, but it doesn't change anything. I am what I am. The hawk-eyed demon, world's strongest swordsman, whatever else you want to call me. My path is my own. He turned to leave, then paused. Hokage, I'll take whatever missions you assign as agreed, but make them interesting. I'm done chasing cats and weeding gardens. Give me something worthy of my time, or save us both the effort. Wait, Tsunade called. There is something that might actually challenge you. That made Naruto turn back. I'm listening. We've received reports of an organization called Akatsuki. They're recruiting powerful missing nin, S-rank criminals from every major village. Tsunade's expression was grim. And according to our intelligence, they're planning to hunt Jinchuriki. All of them, including you. Let them try. Naruto's response was immediate and unconcerned. If they come for me, I'll cut them down. Problem solved. It's not that simple. These aren't normal missing nin. We're talking about people like Itachi Uchiha, Sasuke's brother. Naruto's eyes narrowed slightly. The one who massacred their clan. I've heard the story. He's just one member. There are others, possibly 9 total, all S-rank, and they're being directed by someone with resources and ambition. Jiraiya stepped forward. I've been investigating them for months. They're dangerous, kid, even for you. Then they're worthy opponents. Something like anticipation flickered across Naruto's face. Finally, real swordsmen to test my blade against. This isn't a game, brat, Tsunade snapped. If they're hunting Jinchuriki, they're hunting you. They'll come prepared, with numbers, with jutsu designed to counter your abilities. They'll die. Naruto's voice cut through her objections like Yoru through flesh. They will come, they will try, and they will die, because I am the world's strongest swordsman. There is no technique that can counter that. No number of S-rank missing nin that changes the fundamental truth. I stand at the summit. Everyone else is in a pond, looking up at the ocean. He began walking away, Yoru's wrapped form casting a long shadow in the moonlight. When they come, Hokage, stay out of my way. This will be over quickly. Jiraiya and Tsunade watched him go, both silent until his presence completely faded from perception. He's going to be a problem, Tsunade said finally. He already is. Jiraiya pulled out a sake bottle from his robes and took a long drink. But he's our problem, and honestly, I'd rather have him on our side than against us. Did you feel that presence when the Anbu pushed him? I've faced Bijou with less oppressive chakra. What do we do with him? We do what Sensei did. We give him space, respect his strength, and hope he stays pointed in the right direction. Jiraiya looked toward where Naruto had disappeared. Because if he ever decides Konoha is his enemy, Hime, we're all dead. Every single one of us. Tsunade didn't argue. She'd sensed it too, that absolute certainty in Naruto's words. He wasn't bluffing or posturing. He was stating facts as he understood them. And everything she'd seen and heard suggested his understanding was accurate. Get me everything we have on Akatsuki, she ordered. Every member, every ability, every known hideout. If they're coming for Naruto, I want to know who's dying first. 2 weeks later, the first Akatsuki member arrived. Naruto sensed him from kilometers away, distinctive chakra signature, powerful but controlled, approaching Konoha's borders with clear intent. His Kenbunshoku mapped the stranger's path, tracking him through the forest of death toward the village proper. Interesting, Naruto murmured from his position atop the Hokage monument. He'd been expecting this. Akatsuki wouldn't wait forever, and whoever led them was smart enough to send a scout before committing forces. He vanished in a blur of speed, moving through the village rooftops toward the forest. By the time he reached the border, the intruder had stopped, standing in a clearing and making no effort to hide. Naruto dropped from a tree branch 30 meters away, Yoru planted in the ground beside him. His hawk-like eyes studied the newcomer. Tall, late 20s, dark hair pulled into a ponytail, leaf headband with a slash through it, missing nin. And those eyes. Sharingan, already active, spinning slowly as they analyzed Naruto in return. Itachi Uchiha, Naruto said calmly. Sasuke speaks of you often, usually with murder in his voice. And you are Naruto Uzumaki. Itachi's voice was measured, controlled. The Nine Tails Jinchuriki, the hawk-eyed demon, world's strongest swordsman. He tilted his head slightly. My organization has interest in you. Your organization can come collect my corpse if they want me. Naruto's hand rested on Yoru's hilt. But they'll have to kill me first, and so far, no one has managed that feat. I did not come to fight you today. I came to deliver a message. Itachi's Sharingan spun faster. Akatsuki will claim all 9 Bijou. We will extract them from their containers. You can surrender peacefully and die quickly, or you can resist and die slowly. The outcome is the same. How arrogant. Naruto's lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. You stand before me, offering me the choice of how I die, and you think I'll simply accept it? Let me offer you a counter-proposal. Leave now, report to your leader that the Nine Tails is beyond your reach, and live to see tomorrow. You underestimate Akatsuki. We have power beyond. Naruto moved. One instant, he was 30 meters away. The next, he stood directly in front of Itachi, the Kogatana pressed against the Uchiha's throat. The movement had been faster than the Sharingan could track, faster than Itachi could react. No, Naruto said quietly. You underestimate me. Your Sharingan couldn't follow that movement. Your body couldn't react in time. If I wanted you dead, Itachi Uchiha, you would already be dead. He stepped back, reattaching the Kogatana to his neck. I don't care about your organization's ambitions. I don't care about collecting Bijou or whatever grand plan drives you. But understand this, I am not prey to be hunted. I am the hunter, always. Itachi's expression remained neutral, but his hand had moved unconsciously to his throat, checking for blood. Finding none, Naruto had been precise enough to touch skin without breaking it. He lowered his hand slowly. Impressive, Itachi admitted. Speed that surpasses even my perception. But speed alone is everything. Naruto unwrapped Yoru partially, revealing 6 inches of the black blade. Even that small exposure radiated menace. Speed, precision, power, will. I have perfected all of them. Your Sharingan might see my attacks coming, but can your body move fast enough to avoid them? Your Genjutsu might trap normal shinobi, but can it affect someone whose will has never been broken? Your techniques might kill ordinary opponents, but can they cut through chakra hardening that turns my body into living steel? He drew Yoru fully. The massive black blade caught the afternoon light, drinking it in. I am giving you one chance, Itachi Uchiha. Not because I fear your organization, not because I respect your strength, but because Sasuke deserves the right to kill you himself. Naruto pointed Yoru at the missing nin. Leave now. Tell Akatsuki that the Nine Tails is protected by something stronger than any Biju, and if they still choose to come. He swept Yoru in a casual horizontal arc. The flying slash that erupted carved through the forest beyond Itachi, felling trees for 100 meters. The devastation was precise, missing Itachi by centimeters, destroying everything behind him, stopping exactly where Naruto intended. That was me being gentle, Naruto said. Next time I draw Yoru in your presence, I won't stop the slash before it reaches you. Itachi's Sharingan had recorded every detail of the attack. The speed, the power, the precision. His analytical mind processed the data and reached a conclusion that made his eyes widen fractionally. This child could kill him. Easily. The gap in raw power was so vast that technique became almost irrelevant. I will deliver your message, Itachi said carefully. But Akatsuki does not abandon its goals. We will return, with numbers, with preparation. Good. Naruto's hawk-like eyes gleamed. I look forward to it. It's been too long since I faced opponents worthy of Yoru's edge. Bring your organization. Bring your strongest fighters. Bring whatever allies you think will help. He resheathed the black blade. I'll be waiting at the summit. However long it takes for you to climb there, I shall await you. Itachi recognized the dismissal. He formed a hand seal, preparing to retreat with a substitution jutsu. But before he vanished, he spoke one last time. You remind me of someone who also stood alone, confident in their supreme power. His Sharingan locked onto Naruto's eyes. He was my best friend, and I killed him. Then he wasn't strong enough. Naruto's response was cold. I am. That's the difference. Itachi vanished in a swirl of crows, the black birds dissipating into the afternoon air. Naruto stood alone in the clearing, Yoru planted in the earth beside him. His Kenbun Shoku confirmed Itachi's retreat. The Uchiha was moving fast, already kilometers away and still accelerating. The message has been delivered, Naruto said to himself. Now we wait for the response. He returned to the village, noting the Anbu who'd been observing from concealment. They'd witnessed the encounter, recorded it for the Hokage. Good. Let Tsunade see how he handled threats. Let the council understand what it meant to have someone like him protecting their village. That evening, in the Hokage's office, Tsunade reviewed the Anbu report with growing concern. He engaged Itachi Uchiha in conversation, threatened him, demonstrated his power, and then let him go? She looked at Jiraiya, who'd also read the report. Why not kill him? He clearly had the capability. Because of Sasuke, Jiraiya said. Naruto mentioned giving Sasuke the right to kill Itachi. He's honoring that revenge in his own way. That's almost compassionate for him. Don't mistake it for softness. He let Itachi live because it suited his purposes. When Akatsuki returns, and they will, he'll kill them without hesitation. Jiraiya pulled out his sake. We should be preparing, Hime. If Naruto's assessment is correct, multiple S-rank missing nin are about to descend on Konoha. The village needs to be ready. For what? To stay out of Naruto's way while he fights them? Tsunade's frustration was evident. We're the hidden leaf, one of the 5 great nations, and we're relying on a 12-year-old to protect us from an organization of S-rank criminals? We're relying on the world's strongest swordsman, Jiraiya corrected. Age is irrelevant. Naruto has proven his strength repeatedly. Fighting against it is pointless. Fighting beside it is impossible. He operates on a level we can't match. So we do what we can, evacuate civilians when the fighting starts, set up barriers to contain collateral damage, and trust that when the dust settles, Naruto will still be standing. And if he isn't, then we're all dead anyway. Because if something can kill Naruto Uzumaki, it can definitely kill the rest of us. Tsunade wanted to argue, wanted to assert her authority as Hokage, to claim that the village's strength lay in its unity, not in one individual. But the words died in her throat. because deep down she knew Jiraiya was right. Naruto Uzumaki had transcended normal shinobi classifications. He wasn't Jinin, Chunin, Jonin, or even Kage level. He was something else entirely. A force of nature wearing human skin, wielding a cursed blade that could cut through anything. "Fine," she said finally. "We prepare defensive positions, evacuation routes, medical stations, but no one engages Akatsuki directly except Naruto. That's an order. Any shinobi who sees those black cloaks with red clouds is to retreat immediately and report." "Understood." Jiraiya stood to leave, then paused. "For what it's worth, Hime, I think we're going to win this. Not because I have faith in the village's strength, but because I've seen what Naruto can do when he's truly motivated. And protecting his territory, that motivates him plenty." After Jiraiya left, Tsunade sat alone in the darkening office, staring at the reports scattered across her desk. Intelligence on Akatsuki, casualty estimates from the invasion, rebuilding costs, political implications of Naruto's existence. And in the middle of it all, a single photograph. The fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, smiling alongside his wife Kushina. Both dead, sacrificed to save the village from the Nine Tails. Their son, the child they died protecting, had grown into something they never could have imagined. Not a hero, not a weapon, but an absolute force that acknowledged no authority, followed no rules, and protected what he chose to protect for his own reasons. "Minato," Tsunade whispered to the photograph, "your son is extraordinary and terrifying. I hope you be proud, because frankly, I'm not sure whether to thank you or curse you for bringing him into this world." The photograph offered no answers. It never did. Taking Missund, 3 months passed. Autumn turned to winter, snow falling on Konoha's rooftops. Naruto continued his existence, taking missions when assigned, training alone on his abandoned training ground, drinking wine and watching the village from the monument. Sasuke had grown stronger, his Sharingan developing rapidly as he pushed himself to match Naruto's impossible standard. He'd never catch up, both of them knew it, but the Uchiha's pride demanded he try. Sakura had shifted her focus to medical ninjutsu under Tsunade's tutelage, recognizing that competing with Naruto and Sasuke in combat was pointless. Better to support them, to keep them alive when battles went badly. And Team 7, despite everything, had developed a strange functional dynamic. Kakashi led them on missions. Sasuke fought with controlled fury. Sakura healed and provided strategic analysis. And Naruto eliminated any threat too dangerous for the others, his overwhelming power making most missions trivially easy. But through it all, Naruto's Kenbun Shoku detected them, watching, waiting. Akatsuki members moving through the elemental nations, gathering intelligence, preparing for their eventual assault. They were patient, professional. They learned from Itachi's report that Naruto couldn't be taken lightly. So they planned, coordinated, brought in specialists. And one winter morning, they came. Naruto sensed them at dawn. 9 distinct chakra signatures, all powerful, all converging on Konoha from different directions. His eyes opened atop the monument where he'd been meditating. "Finally," he murmured. He stood, unwrapping Yoru fully. The black blade gleamed in the early morning light, eager. Naruto's Busoshoku flowed into the weapon, coating it in visible darkness. His Haoshoku expanded outward, a declaration of presence that washed over the village like a tidal wave. In the Hokage's office, Tsunade felt it and cursed. She grabbed her communication radio. "All units, evacuation protocol Alpha. Civilians to shelters immediately. Combat personnel to defensive positions. No one engages the enemy except me," Naruto's voice interrupted. He stood in her window, Yoru resting on his shoulder. "They're here. 9 of them, all S rank, all targeting me." His hawk-like eyes met hers. "Keep your shinobi out of my way, Hokage. This is my fight." "Naruto, even you can't fight 9 S rank. Watch me." He stepped backward off the window ledge, dropping toward the street below. Before he hit the ground, he'd vanished, moving at speeds that left after images. Tsunade rushed to the window, watching as Naruto's form blurred toward the village's north gate. In the distance, 9 figures in black cloaks with red clouds were approaching, spreading out to encircle the village. "Jiraiya!" Tsunade activated her radio. "He's engaging them. Get our forces into position, and someone find Sasuke. Keep him away from Itachi no matter what." "Already on it," Jiraiya's voice crackled back. "Jaime, good luck to all of us." Naruto met them at the north gate. All 9 Akatsuki members stood in a line, their faces hidden beneath their cloaks or masks. But Naruto's Kenbun-shoku identified each one, analyzing their chakra signatures and threat levels. Itachi Uchiha, known threat, Sharingan user. Kisame Hoshigaki, massive chakra reserves, wielding what appeared to be a living sword. Deidara, explosive chakra, artist-type personality. Sasori, chakra signature was wrong somehow, puppet master. Kakuzu, multiple hearts, earth-style specialist. Hidan, immortal somehow, religious zealot. Konan, paper manipulation, calm presence. Pain, 6 bodies, shared vision, claiming to be God. And standing behind them all, barely visible in the shadows, someone else. Someone whose presence made even Naruto's expression sharpen slightly. The leader, the one pulling Akatsuki strings. Naruto Uzumaki, Pain spoke, his ringed eyes studying Naruto without emotion. We are Akatsuki, we are God, and we have come for the 9 tails. You've come to die, Naruto corrected. He planted Yoru's tip in the ground before him. 9 of you, against 1 of me. You think numbers make a difference? Let me educate you about the ocean you're trying to swim in. Arrogant brat, Deidara sneered. Ma'arto moved. The Kogatana left his neck and flickered through the air, almost too fast to see. It struck Deidara's explosive clay bird, detonating it prematurely. The explosion consumed the Akatsuki member, forcing him to retreat backward with burns across his arms. Lesson 1, Naruto said, the Kogatana returning to his hand. Speed determines survival. If I can hit you before you can react, your technique is irrelevant. Impressive, Kasame grinned, shark-like teeth gleaming. Let's see how you handle Samehada. He swung his massive living sword, the scales rippling as it absorbed chakra from the air. Naruto didn't block. He simply moved aside, faster than Kasame could track, and his Kogatana traced a line across the missing nin's shoulder. Blood sprayed. Lesson 2, Naruto continued. Your weapons are tools. My weapon is an extension of my will. The difference is absolute. Pain raised his hand, and all 6 of his bodies moved in perfect synchronization. Enough games. Shinra Tensei. Repulsive force exploded outward, a push that could devastate buildings. It hit Naruto and stopped. The force washed over him like water over stone. His Busoshoku-coated body didn't even shift. Lesson 3, Naruto said, his voice cutting through the shocked silence. Chakra techniques can be defended against if your hardening is strong enough, and mine is stronger than anything you've ever encountered. He lifted Yoru with one hand. I've been patient, giving you chances to retreat, demonstrating the gulf between us in small ways, but patience has limits, and you've reached mine. His Haoshoku exploded outward, not the controlled pressure from before, but full dominant will unleashed. 3 Akatsuki members collapsed immediately. Deidara, Hidan, and one of Pain's 6 bodies. The others staggered, fighting to stay conscious under the oppressive presence. What is this? Konan gasped, her paper wings struggling to keep her aloft. This, Naruto said, is what it means to stand before the world's strongest swordsman. He swung Yoru. Kokuto Yoru, Koko Odan. The flying slash erupted like black lightning 50 meters wide, moving faster than sound. It carved through the ground between Naruto and Akatsuki, splitting the earth and creating a canyon that forced the organization members to scatter. When the dust settled, they'd been separated, 3 on Naruto's left, 3 on his right, 3 straight ahead. The perfect formation they'd arrived in was shattered. Divide and conquer, Sasori said, his puppet body making clicking sounds. Naruto appeared in front of him. The movement had been instantaneous, covering 50 meters in a blink. Yoru came down vertically, and Sasori barely managed to substitute with a puppet that was cleaved in 2. You can't outrun me, Naruto said. You can't outfight me. You can't overwhelm me with numbers or technique. So let me ask you this. Why are you still here? Why haven't you run? Because we are Akatsuki, Pain's voice echoed from all 6 bodies simultaneously. We do not run. We do not fail. We are in a pond. Naruto's interruption was casual. Looking up at the ocean and calling it a lake, your arrogance blinds you to the fundamental truth. You were never in my league. Not individually. Not collectively. Not with all your preparations and power combined. He raised Yoru above his head, holding it with both hands. Chakra, black as midnight, dense as steel, coated the blade until it seemed to drink in the very light around it. The air pressure changed. The temperature dropped. Even the snow falling from the sky seemed to slow. afraid to touch the killing intent radiating from weapon and wielder. "I'm going to show you something," Naruto said. "Something I developed specifically for opponents who refuse to accept their place in the world's hierarchy. I call it..." He brought Yoru down in a vertical slash that could split the sky itself. "Kokuto Yoru, Shuenzangeki, final curtain slash." The flying cut that erupted was unlike anything before. Not wide like his previous attacks, but concentrated, a pillar of pure cutting force that extended upward like a black tower reaching toward the heavens. It didn't spread, it didn't dissipate, it simply existed, a vertical line of annihilation that anything touching it would be erased from existence. Pain's 6 bodies scattered. Kasame dove aside. Itachi used a substitution. The slash stood where they'd been, immobile but absolute, a monument to what happened when you challenged the world's strongest swordsman. Then it fell forward. The pillar of cutting force crashed down like a falling building, sweeping across the battlefield. Akatsuki members fled in every direction, using every technique they possessed to avoid the attack. Kakuzu was too slow. The slash caught him across the chest, and 3 of his 5 hearts were destroyed instantly. He collapsed, barely alive. Hidan, having recovered from the Hao Shoku, charged forward with his scythe. "I'm immortal. Your attacks can't." Naruto's kogatana embedded itself in Hidan's forehead. The small blade couldn't kill someone truly immortal, but it disrupted his equilibrium enough that the follow-up slash from Yoru severed both his arms. "Immortality without strength is just eternal suffering," Naruto observed. He kicked Hidan's armless body away. "Lesson 4. Immortality means nothing if I can incapacitate you forever." Deidara, having recovered, launched explosive clay from the air. Dozens of birds swooped toward Naruto, each packed with enough explosive power to level buildings. Naruto swept Yoru in a horizontal circle. The flying slash detonated every bird simultaneously, the explosions creating a sphere of fire around him. When the smoke cleared, he stood unharmed, his Busoshoku having protected him from the blast. "Lesson 5, he said, looking up at Deidara. "Scale doesn't matter. I can cut through 1 attack or 1,000. The result is the same." He sheathed Yoru suddenly, confusing the remaining Akatsuki members. Then he drew the kogatana alone, holding the small cross-shaped blade in one hand. "You're not worthy of my black blade," Naruto explained. "Yoru is for opponents who've earned the right to face it. You haven't. So I'll finish this with my pendant." "You arrogant." Kasame charged, Samahata swinging with enough force to shatter stone. Naruto's kogatana deflected it. The small blade moved with surgical precision, redirecting Samahata's force away and exposing Kasame's guard. Then Naruto's free hand struck, a palm strike enhanced with Busoshoku that shattered ribs and sent Kasame flying backward 50 meters. "Lesson 6, Naruto said. "A blade's size is irrelevant. Skill determines lethality." Pain's remaining 5 bodies attacked in perfect coordination. Chakra rods, summoning techniques, soul-ripping jutsu, everything the Rinnegan could produce, launched simultaneously. Naruto moved through it all like a dancer, the kogatana deflecting what couldn't be dodged, his Kenbun Shoku predicting every attack before it landed. And slowly, methodically, he dismantled Pain's bodies. 1, 2, 3. Each fell with precision cuts that severed chakra pathways, leaving them alive but unable to fight. When only 2 Pain bodies remained, they retreated, recognizing defeat. "This isn't over," Pain's voice echoed. "We will return. We will." "No." Naruto appeared between the 2 bodies, kogatana in hand. "You won't, because I'm going to send a message through you. Tell your leader, the one hiding in the shadows, pulling your strings, that the 9 Tails is beyond his reach. Tell him that Naruto Uzumaki stands at the summit, unchallenged and undefeated. And tell him that if he wants to continue existing in this world, he should find a different goal." He struck. The kogatana severed the chakra receivers connecting Pain's bodies to their controller. Both collapsed, technically alive but no longer functional as the Rinnegan user's puppets. Of the 9 Akatsuki members who'd arrived, only 3 remained conscious: Itachi, Konan, and the leader in the shadows. Itachi stepped forward, Sharingan spinning. "I tried to warn them, told them you were beyond our capabilities. They didn't listen." "Arrogance," Naruto agreed. "It clouds judgment, makes even intelligent people make stupid decisions." He pointed the kogatana at Itachi. "You're the smart one. You knew this would fail. So why did you come?" orders, loyalty to the organization. Itachi's eyes met Naruto's, and curiosity. I wanted to see if my assessment was accurate, if you truly were as strong as I believed. And you're stronger, significantly so. Itachi deactivated his Sharingan. This battle is over. Akatsuki has lost, but the war isn't finished. Our leader won't stop. He'll find another way. Then I'll kill him too. Naruto's tone suggested this was inevitable. Anyone who threatens what I've chosen to protect will die. That's not arrogance. It's certainty. Konan formed paper wings, preparing to retreat with Itachi. But before they could leave, the leader finally revealed himself, stepping from the shadows where he'd been observing. Tall, spiral mask covering his face, Sharingan visible through the opening, and a presence that even Naruto's Kenbun-shoku recognized as dangerous. Interesting, the masked man said, his voice distorted. You've defeated my organization in under an hour, destroyed years of planning and recruitment, all alone with just a sword and will. Who are you? Naruto demanded. I am Tobi, or Madara Uchiha if you prefer legends. The man's visible Sharingan spun lazily. And you, Naruto Uzumaki, have become an obstacle to the infinite Tsukuyomi, my plan to bring peace to this world. Peace through illusion? How pathetic. Naruto's grip on the Kogatana tightened. Real peace comes from strength, from standing at the summit and daring anyone to challenge you. Your plan is weakness disguised as salvation. Perhaps. Tobi's form began phasing, becoming intangible. But you can't kill what you can't touch. My Kamui makes me immune to physical attacks. Your sword, however sharp, can't cut what isn't there. Everything can be cut, Naruto said. You just haven't met anyone skilled enough to cut you. He moved. The Kogatana swept through where Tobi stood, and for a moment, just a fraction of a second, the masked man's intangibility flickered. The blade grazed him, drawing a thin line of blood across his arm. Tobi's eye widened behind the mask. Impossible. No one has ever touched me during Kamui. How did you? Timing, observation, skill. Naruto's hawk-like eyes studied Tobi with predatory intensity. Your technique has a weakness. A split second when you transition from intangible to tangible, and I'm fast enough to exploit it. For the first time, genuine concern crossed Tobi's visible expression. You're more dangerous than I anticipated. Perhaps killing you now before you reach your full potential. Try it. Naruto unwrapped Yoru with his free hand, the black blade emerging. I've been holding back, using only the Kogatana, but if you want to test yourself against my true strength, I'll oblige you. Right here, right now. Tobi considered this, analyzed the situation, weighed his options. Then he retreated. Another time, when I'm properly prepared, when I have allies who aren't so incompetent. He glanced at the fallen Akatsuki members. You've won this battle, Naruto Uzumaki, but the war has just begun, and eventually I will have the 9 tails, one way or another. He vanished into a swirling vortex, using Kamui to escape before Naruto could strike again. Naruto stood alone in the destroyed battlefield, surrounded by unconscious or incapacitated Akatsuki members. His Kenbun-shoku confirmed Tobi's retreat. The masked man was moving fast, already kilometers away and still accelerating through his dimensional technique. Smart, Naruto admitted. Knowing when to retreat is as important as knowing when to fight. He rewrapped Yoru and attached the Kogatana to his neck. Then he turned to address the Konoha shinobi who'd been observing from concealed positions. The fight is over, he announced. Collect the Akatsuki members, interrogate them, learn what you can about their organization. He began walking back toward the village. And someone tell the Hokage that the 9 tails is still exactly where it's always been, inside the strongest container in existence. The shinobi stared at the devastation Naruto had caused. The canyon carved by his flying slash, the destruction from Akatsuki's techniques, the blood and broken bodies scattered across the field. One genin who'd survived the invasion had fought 9 S-rank missing nin and won decisively. It shouldn't have been possible. It defied every rule of shinobi combat. But the evidence was undeniable. Naruto Uzumaki was exactly what he claimed to be, the world's strongest swordsman. In the Hokage's office, Tsunade listened to the reports with growing disbelief. He fought all 9, alone? Yes, Hokage-sama, the Anbu captain confirmed. We observed from concealed positions as ordered. Uzumaki engaged the entire Akatsuki organization simultaneously. He incapacitated 7 members within the first hour, killed 1, drove off the leader. Casualties on our side? None. He handled everything himself. Tsunade sank into her chair. Damage to the village? Minimal. The fight occurred outside the walls. Some collateral destruction to the surrounding forest, but nothing we can't repair. And the captured Akatsuki members? In custody. Interrogation is beginning now. But Hokage-sama, the Anbu hesitated. Several of them are requesting to speak with Uzumaki specifically. They claim he's the only one who can answer their questions. What questions? How he's so strong. How he achieved power that surpasses their organization's combined might. They want to understand what they faced. Tsunade dismissed the Anbu and sat alone with her thoughts. This was unprecedented. An organization of S-rank criminals, some of the most dangerous shinobi alive, had been dismantled by a 12-year-old, and now they wanted to learn from him. The door opened. Naruto entered without knocking, Yoru wrapped and resting on his back. "You wanted to see me?" he asked. "Sit, please." Tsunade gestured to the chair across from her desk. Naruto sat, his posture relaxed but alert. "The battle is over. Akatsuki is broken. Their leader escaped, but he won't return soon. You're welcome." "I wasn't going to thank you." Tsunade pulled out a sake bottle and 2 cups, pouring for both of them. "I was going to ask you a question, and I want an honest answer. I'm always honest. Ask. Why do you protect this village?" "Really?" Tsunade met his eyes. "You have the power to go anywhere, do anything. You could leave Konoha, live as a wanderer, never answer to anyone. Yet you stay. You fight our battles. You protect our people. Why?" Naruto considered the question seriously, taking a sip of sake. "Several reasons. First, I gave my word to the third Hokage. I keep my promises. Second, this is my territory. I was born here, trained here, became who I am here. Protecting it is a matter of pride, not sentiment." He paused, choosing his next words carefully. "But there's a third reason, a more personal one. I'm the world's strongest swordsman. I stand at the summit, unchallenged. But standing at the top alone is meaningless if there's nothing below worth protecting. The view from the summit is only beautiful if there's a world to look down on." "That's almost philosophical. For you. I've had time to think." Naruto set down his cup. "When I was younger, I wanted strength for its own sake. Power to protect myself, to stand above those who'd hurt me. But power without purpose is just destruction. The third taught me that, even if he didn't realize it. And now that I have the power I always wanted, I'm learning what to do with it." "And what's that?" "Stand guard. At the summit, overlooking everything below, waiting for threats worthy of my blade. Akatsuki was one such threat. There will be others, and when they come, I'll cut them down." His hawk-like eyes held steady. "That's my purpose, Hokage. That's why I protect this village. Not because I love it, not because I belong here, but because it's mine to protect, and I'm strong enough to do it." Tsunade poured herself another cup of sake. "You know, when Jiraiya told me about you, I thought he was exaggerating. The strongest genin in history," he said. "Maybe the strongest shinobi, period. I didn't believe him. And now I think he was understating it." She drained her cup. "You're not the strongest genin. You're not even the strongest shinobi. You're something else. Something that doesn't fit in our classification system. I'm a swordsman. That's all I've ever been. That's all I'll ever need to be. Then keep being that. Keep protecting this village in your impossible way. Keep standing at your summit." Tsunade stood, offering her hand. "And thank you for everything you've done, even if you don't care about gratitude." Naruto shook her hand briefly, then stood. "The captured Akatsuki members want to speak with me? Some of them. I can refuse if... I'll talk to them, briefly." Naruto moved toward the door. "They lost, but they weren't weak. If they have questions about strength and swordsmanship, I'll answer. It costs me nothing, and they might learn something valuable." He paused at the threshold. "Oh, and Hokage, the masked man, Tobi or Madara or whoever he really is, will return, probably within the year. When he does, I'll need you to keep everyone else away. That fight will be destructive." "How destructive?" "The kind that reshapes landscapes." Naruto's smile was cold. "I'm looking forward to it." He left, and Tsunade stood alone in her office, staring at the sake bottle. "Minato," she whispered to the memory of the fourth Hokage, "your son is going to either save this world or reshape it completely. Possibly both. I hope you're watching, because what comes next is going to be legendary." In the interrogation cells below the Hokage Tower, Naruto met with the captured Akatsuki members one by one. Kasame was first. The shark-like missing nin sat restrained, Samahata confiscated, nursing broken ribs. "You're stronger than I imagined," Kasame admitted. "I've fought Biju before. You're scarier. Because Biju are power without precision. I am both." Naruto sat across from him. "You wanted to ask me something? How do you coat your entire body in chakra like that? When my Samahata tried to absorb it, the blade couldn't even penetrate. What kind of technique is that?" "It's called Buso Shoku, chakra hardening taken to the absolute limit. I condition my body constantly, pushing chakra through every cell until it becomes second nature. It's not a technique you can copy. It's a lifestyle. Years of discipline." Kasame laughed bitterly. "Years. I've been training for decades, and I can't do what a 12-year-old accomplishes naturally. Because you train for power, not precision. Strength without control is just violence." Naruto stood. "If you survive imprisonment, consider this. A sword is only as effective as the hand wielding it. Master yourself before trying to master others." He moved to the next cell. Deidara glared at him with undisguised hatred. "My art could have destroyed you. If I'd had more time, more preparation." "You would have failed faster," Naruto interrupted. "Your explosives are impressive, powerful, but predictable. I could see each attack coming before you launched it. Art is supposed to be surprising, isn't it?" "You don't understand art at all. I understand blades. I understand cutting. Everything else is irrelevant." Naruto turned to leave. "But if it helps, your explosions were well crafted. You just used them against someone immune to blast damage." The next cell held Kakuzu, barely alive with only 2 hearts remaining. "You cost me 3 hearts in one attack," the immortal said. "That's unprecedented. You relied on quantity over quality. 5 hearts meant you could survive most attacks, so you never learned to properly defend against what you couldn't survive." Naruto's tone was almost educational. "Immortality breeds complacency. Remember that, if you live long enough to be free again." Haiden, armless but alive, screamed curses from his cell. Naruto ignored him. Some people couldn't be taught. Sasori's puppet body had been dismantled. His true form, a child preserved in a puppet, sat exposed and vulnerable. "You turned yourself into a weapon," Naruto observed. "Gave up humanity for immortality and combat efficiency, admirable in a way, but you lost something important." "What's that?" "Growth. Humans adapt, improve, surpass their limits. Puppets are static. You locked yourself at a specific power level and called it perfection." Naruto leaned closer. "I'm 12. In 10 years, I'll be stronger than I am now. Will you?" Sasori had no answer. The pain bodies weren't conscious, but Naruto visited them anyway. The Rinnegan eyes stared lifelessly from their severed connections. "Impressive technique," Naruto admitted to the unconscious puppets. 6 bodies, shared vision, perfect coordination. If you'd been stronger individually, the combination might have challenged me. Might have. Finally, he found Itachi's cell. The Uchiha sat calmly, Sharingan deactivated, expression neutral. "You came to talk?" Itachi asked. "You're the only one who understood the gap from the beginning. I respect that." Naruto sat across from him. "So I'll tell you something the others don't get. I'm not unbeatable because of some special technique or bloodline advantage. I'm unbeatable because I've dedicated every moment of my life to perfecting one thing, swordsmanship. While others diversified their skills, learned multiple jutsu, spread their focus thin, I focused entirely on the blade. Single-minded dedication. Absolute dedication. No distractions, no compromises. Just me, my sword, and the pursuit of perfection." Naruto's eyes held Itachi's gaze. That's what it takes to reach the summit. Everything else, friends, family, comfort, safety, becomes secondary to the goal. Most people aren't willing to pay that price. I was. That's the difference. "And Sasuke? Your teammate? He seeks to kill me. Will you help him reach that goal?" "I'll make him strong enough to attempt it. Whether he succeeds is his choice." Naruto stood. "But understand this, Itachi Uchiha. If you escape this prison and threaten Konoha again, I won't spare you. Sasuke's revenge matters to him. My protection of this village matters to me. If those 2 goals conflict, mine takes priority." "Understood." Itachi bowed his head slightly. "Thank you for your honesty." Naruto left the interrogation cells and returned to his apartment. Dawn was breaking over Konoha, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. The village was already bustling. Repairs from the brief battle, civilians returning from evacuation shelters, shinobi reorganizing defensive positions. Life continued, as it always did. But something had changed. The village's perception of Naruto had shifted fundamentally. Before, he'd been the demon brat, feared and hated. Then the mysterious prodigy, powerful but unknown. After the invasion, the defender, respected but distant. Now, after single-handedly dismantling Akatsuki, he'd become something else entirely. The Guardian. The hawk-eyed demon who stood watch over Konoha, eliminating threats before they could reach the village proper. Children who'd once thrown stones at him now watched with awe. Adults who'd cursed his existence now bowed respectfully when he passed. Even the council, those stubborn old politicians who tried to control him, had gone silent, recognizing that attempting to cage this force was both impossible and counterproductive. Naruto noticed the change but didn't acknowledge it. Respect born from fear was hollow. He protected the village because he'd chosen to, not because they finally appreciated him. But alone in his apartment, looking at the sunrise through his window, he allowed himself a small smile. Progress, not friendship, not belonging, but progress. SAGA's Naruto practice. 3 days after the battle, Sasuke found Naruto training on his abandoned training ground. The Uchiha stood at the edge of the clearing, watching as Naruto practiced. Endless repetitions of the same slash, each one perfect, each one searching for something beyond perfection. "You fought Itachi," Sasuke said finally. "I fought Akatsuki. Your brother was among them." Naruto didn't stop training. "What of it? Why didn't you kill him? You had the power, the opportunity. Because he's yours to kill." Naruto completed his slash and turned to face Sasuke. "Your brother destroyed your clan. That revenge belongs to you. Me killing him would be stealing that right. You think I'll be strong enough to face someone who survived fighting you? Eventually, if you commit to it the way I commit to my path." Naruto planted Yoru in the ground. "But understand, Sasuke, catching up to me is impossible. I'm too far ahead and I'm still growing. Catching up to Itachi, though, that's achievable if you focus everything on that goal. Teach me." The words came out harder than Sasuke intended. "You're the strongest. You know what it takes to surpass impossible opponents. Teach me how to reach that level." "No." Sasuke's Sharingan activated instinctively, fury and desperation warring in his expression. "Why not? You said you'd help me grow strong enough to attempt it," Naruto interrupted, "not to guarantee success. And I can't teach you my path, Sasuke. Swordsmanship is my way. You need to find yours." He gestured at the Uchiha's eyes. "The Sharingan is powerful. Your clan's fire techniques are devastating. You have tools I don't possess. Learn to use them properly instead of trying to copy my approach." "But you're the strongest." "Because I mastered one thing completely. You're trying to master everything partially. That's why you'll never catch me." Naruto's hawk-like eyes studied Sasuke. "Pick a path. Commit to it absolutely. Accept that some opponents will always be beyond you and focus on surpassing the ones that matter. Itachi is achievable. I am not. Understand the difference, or you'll waste your life chasing an impossible goal." The words were harsh, brutal, but Sasuke needed to hear them. The Uchiha stood silent, processing the truth he'd been avoiding. "Kakashi can teach you better than I can," Naruto continued. "He has the Sharingan. He knows your clan's techniques. Train with him. Push yourself to your limit. And when you're ready, when you've truly committed to surpassing Itachi, come find me. I'll test you to see if you're worthy of facing him." "Test me how?" "The same way I test everyone, by trying to kill you. If you survive, you're strong enough. If you don't..." Naruto shrugged. "Then you weren't ready, and facing Itachi would have killed you anyway. Better to die learning than die failing." Sasuke's fists clenched, but he nodded. It was the most honest advice anyone had ever given him. No empty encouragement, no false promises. Just pure pragmatic truth. "I'll train," Sasuke said, "and when I'm ready, I'll come back, and I'll survive your test." "I look forward to it." Naruto turned back to his practice. "Now leave. Your presence is disrupting my concentration." Sasuke left without argument. Behind him, the sound of Naruto's endless training continued. The same slash repeated endlessly, searching for perfection that might not exist but pursuing it anyway. That dedication, Sasuke realized, was what separated the truly strong from everyone else. Not talent, not bloodline, not even hard work, but absolute, uncompromising commitment to a single goal. He would learn that commitment, or die trying. 6 months passed. Winter gave way to spring, snow melting into cherry blossoms. Konoha flourished under Tsunade's leadership, the fifth Hokage proving to be as capable administratively as she was medically. Naruto continued his existence, training alone, taking missions, standing watch over the village from his position on the monument. But his Kenbun-shoku detected a change in the world's currents. Something was shifting, moving, preparing. The masked man, Tobi, Madara, whoever he truly was, hadn't attacked again, but Naruto's senses picked up subtle movements, chakra signatures gathering in hidden locations, plans being formed in the shadows. The war Tobi had promised was coming, not immediately, but soon. One spring evening, as Naruto sat drinking wine and watching the sunset, Jiraiya appeared beside him. "Mind if I join you?" the Sannin asked. "It's a free monument." Jiraiya sat, pulling out his own sake bottle. "I've been investigating, following up on the Akatsuki intelligence we gathered from the captured members. And Tobi's plan is worse than we thought. The infinite Tsukuyomi he mentioned? It's a genjutsu that would trap the entire world in illusion. Everyone. Forever. He believes it will bring peace by eliminating reality itself. Madness." Naruto took a sip of wine. Peace through delusion is no peace at all. It's just nothing. Agreed. But he's gathering power to make it happen. He needs all 9 Biju. You're one of the last he hasn't captured. Jiraiya's expression was grave. He'll come for you eventually. And when he does, he'll bring everything he has. Good. I've been bored lately. This isn't a joke, Naruto. We're talking about someone who claims to be Madara Uchiha. If he really is, if he has even a fraction of that power, then he'll be the first opponent in years who's actually worthy of Yoru's edge. Naruto's hawk-like eyes gleamed with anticipation. "I've been using the Kogatana for so long, I almost forgot what it's like to draw my true blade against a real threat." "You're insane. You know that?" "No, I'm confident there's a difference." Naruto stood, stretching. "When Tobi comes, and he will, I'll cut him down. Same as I did his organization, same as I do every threat that challenges my territory. The outcome is inevitable. The only question is how much spectacle he'll provide before dying." Jiraiya watched Naruto walk away, the boy's form silhouetted against the setting sun. The Sannin had met many powerful shinobi in his lifetime. Tsunade, Orochimaru, the third Hokage, even legends like Hanzo the Salamander. None of them had carried themselves with the absolute certainty Naruto displayed. None of them had looked at world-ending threats and seen only entertainment. "Minato," Jiraiya whispered to his dead student's memory, "your son is either going to save the world or break it. And honestly, I can't tell which." The years turned. Naruto aged from 12 to 13 to 14. His body grew taller, stronger, but his essential nature remained unchanged. Still solitary, still dedicated, still standing watch over Konoha from his position at the summit. Sasuke trained obsessively under Kakashi, his Sharingan developing rapidly. The Uchiha had taken Naruto's advice to heart, focusing on mastering his clan's techniques rather than trying to copy the swordsman's approach. He grew strong, not Naruto's level, but formidable in his own right. Sakura became Tsunade's apprentice, learning medical ninjutsu and the monstrous strength the fifth Hokage was famous for. She'd accepted that combat wasn't her calling, but support was, and she excelled at it. Team 7 evolved, they took missions, completed them efficiently, grew as shinobi, and always Naruto stood as their ceiling, the impossible standard they could aspire toward but never reach. Other villages took notice. Konoha's power had grown not through military expansion or alliance, but through a single individual. Bingo books across the nations updated Naruto's entry repeatedly. Naruto Uzumaki, Hawk-Eyed Demon, world's strongest swordsman, flee on sight, do not engage under any circumstances. Kage level threat, possibly beyond Kage level. Some villages considered him a deterrent, others a target. But all agreed, Konoha's position in the world hierarchy had fundamentally shifted because of one blonde swordsman who answered to no one. And through it all, Naruto waited, training, watching, sensing the approaching storm, because his Kenbun-shoku told him that Tobi hadn't given up, hadn't retreated permanently. The masked man was gathering strength, recruiting new allies, preparing for a final confrontation that would determine the world's fate. Good, Naruto thought each time he sensed those distant preparations. Let him come prepared. Let him bring his strongest. Let him believe he has a chance. It will make cutting him down all the more satisfying. On Naruto's 15th birthday, not that he celebrated such things, Tsunade summoned him to her office. "We have intelligence," she said without preamble. "Toby is moving. He's declared war on the allied shinobi nations. Says he's coming for the remaining Biju, and anyone who stands in his way will be crushed." "When?" 3 months. He's given us 3 months to surrender the 8 tails and 9 tails, or he'll take them by force. And the allied nations' response? United front. Every major village is preparing for war. Hundreds of thousands of shinobi mobilizing. The biggest conflict since the Third Great War. Tsunade met Naruto's eyes. "They want you to fight alongside them, be part of the allied forces." "No." "Naruto, I fight alone. Always have, always will." He stood. "When Toby comes, I'll eliminate him, but I won't be part of an army, won't follow someone else's strategy or coordinate with shinobi who will just get in my way. Point me at the enemy leader and I'll end this war in minutes. Otherwise, keep me out of it." "It's not that simple. This is a world war. Even you can't." "Yes, I can." Naruto's tone brooked no argument. "I am the world's strongest swordsman. The title isn't decorative, it's descriptive. Point me at Toby. Let me do what I do best. And when the dust settles, you can credit the allied forces with the victory if it makes you feel better." Tsunade wanted to argue, wanted to insist that teamwork and coordination mattered, that even Naruto couldn't face an entire army alone. But she remembered the Akatsuki battle, remembered 9 S-rank criminals falling before him like children playing at war, remembered the reports from every mission he'd taken, perfect completion rate, 0 casualties, enemies eliminated with surgical precision. "Fine," she said. "The allied forces will handle the army. You handle Toby. But Naruto, if this goes wrong, if you fail, I won't." He moved toward the door. 3 months. Tell me when and where Toby appears. I'll be there, and this farce of a war will end before it truly begins." He left, and Tsunade sat alone in her office, staring at battle plans and casualty estimates. The Fourth Great Shinobi War was beginning. Allied nations versus Toby's forces. Thousands would die. Villages would burn. The world would bleed. Unless a 15-year-old swordsman could do what he claimed, end it all with a single blade. "Minato," Tsunade whispered, "your son is about to either save the world or doom us all. I just hope we're ready for whichever outcome occurs." 3 months passed, intense preparation. The allied shinobi forces assembled, over 80,000 shinobi from 5 major villages, united for the first time in history. Command structure established, strategies planned, defenses prepared. And Naruto trained alone on his abandoned training ground, refining techniques that might actually be necessary against an opponent claiming to be Madara Uchiha. Because even Naruto, confident as he was, recognized that Toby represented something different. Not just strong, not just skilled, but potentially dangerous enough to require his full attention. So he trained, pushed his Busoshoku to new heights, expanded his Kenbunshoku's range, refined his Haoshoku until he could target specific individuals in a crowd. And most importantly, he studied Yoru, the black blade that had been waiting for him, the weapon forged specifically for someone like him. The scroll Jiraiya had found mentioned something, a hidden ability, a final technique that only revealed itself to wielders who truly mastered the blade. Naruto didn't know what it was, but he felt it sometimes, a pulse from Yoru, a suggestion that the weapon had depths he hadn't plumbed. And against Toby, he might need every advantage. The day of battle arrived suddenly. Scouts reported Toby's army approaching, a force of 100,000 white Zetsu clones, all identical, all expendable. Behind them, resurrected shinobi, corpses reanimated through forbidden jutsu, forced to fight against their will. The allied forces mobilized, generals gave speeches, shinobi prepared for war. And Naruto stood alone on a hilltop overlooking the battlefield, Yoru unwrapped and gleaming in the morning sun. "Finally," he murmured, "a battle worthy of my full strength." He sensed Toby's presence at the enemy army's rear. The masked man hadn't engaged yet, letting his forces soften the allied defenses first. Smart, but ultimately futile. Naruto raised Yoru above his head with both hands. Chakra, black as midnight, dense as steel, visible even in broad daylight, coated the blade. His busoshoku pushed to its absolute limit. "Kokuto Yoru," he said, his voice carrying across the battlefield through sheer force of will. "Sekai Odan, world-crossing slash." He brought the blade down. The flying slash that erupted was beyond anything he'd produced before. Not 50 meters wide, not 100, but 300 meters of pure cutting force, extending upward toward the sky like a black pillar connecting earth to heaven. It carved through Tobi's army like Yoru through air. 10,000 white Zetsu clones were bisected in the first second. The slash continued forward, unstoppable, cutting through resurrected shinobi, through defensive positions, through the very earth itself. When it finally dissipated 5 kilometers later, a canyon marked its path, perfectly straight, impossibly deep, a monument to what happened when the world's strongest swordsman stopped holding back. Silence fell over both armies. Allied forces stared in shock at the devastation. Tobi's forces, what remained of them, hesitated, recognizing the threat. Naruto walked forward slowly, Yoru resting on his shoulder. His Kenbunshoku had mapped the entire battlefield, identified every enemy, calculated optimal cutting paths. "I am Naruto Uzumaki," he announced, his voice carrying through chakra-enhanced projection. "World's strongest swordsman, wielder of the Black Blade Yoru, and I am giving you all one chance. Surrender now or die screaming." No one surrendered. They charged instead. White Zetsu clones flooding toward him like a wave, resurrected shinobi launching techniques from range. Naruto sighed. "So be it." He began cutting. Kokuto Yoru, Koko Odan. Flying slashes erupted in every direction, each one carving through dozens of enemies. Naruto moved through the battlefield like a dancer, Yoru sweeping in perfect arcs that left devastation in their wake. A resurrected Jonin launched a water dragon. Naruto cut through the technique, bisecting the chakra construct before it fully formed. Another attempted earth-style defense. Yoru carved through stone like paper. Numbers meant nothing. Technique meant nothing. Against absolute mastery of the blade, everything was equally cuttable. 10,000 enemies became 5,000. 5,000 became 1,000. The allied forces who'd been preparing for prolonged battle could only watch as Naruto systematically dismantled Tobi's entire army alone. "This is impossible," Akage whispered. "One person shouldn't have this much power." "That's not a person," another responded. "That's a force of nature wearing human skin." 20 minutes after the battle began, Naruto stood alone in a field of bisected corpses and dissipating clones. Not a scratch on him, not even breathing hard, just calmly cleaning Yoru's blade and scanning for his real target. Tobi emerged from the shadows behind his decimated army. The masked man's visible Sharingan spun slowly, analyzing what had just occurred. "Impressive," Tobi admitted. "You've eliminated my entire disposable force in under half an hour. That's unprecedented." "That was me warming up." Naruto pointed Yoru at Tobi. "Now comes the real fight, you versus me. No armies, no clones, just two opponents testing their strength. You think you can defeat me? I am Madara Uchiha. I have power beyond. You're someone wearing a mask and hiding behind techniques." Naruto's hawk-like eyes cut through the deception. "But I'll give you credit. You're the first opponent in years who's actually made me consider using Yoru's full power. So let's see if you can survive it." He shifted his grip, holding Yoru in a high guard position. Chakra flowed into the blade, not coating it, but infusing it, becoming one with it. The weapon hummed, resonating with his will. "The seas you are looking at," Naruto said, quoting his own philosophy, "are still just a small pond. Let me show you the ocean." Tobi formed hand seals rapidly. Wood-style, deep forest emergence. Massive trees erupted from the ground, their trunks wider than buildings, branches spreading to create an instant forest. The technique that had once been wielded by the first Hokage, now replicated through stolen cells and forbidden jutsu. Naruto didn't dodge. He swept Yoru in a complete horizontal circle. Kokuto Yoru, Zantetsu Kai, all cutting revolution. The flying slash expanded outward in a 360-degree arc, carving through every tree, every branch, every obstacle within a 100-meter radius. When it faded, Naruto stood in a perfect circle of devastation, untouched. "Wood style won't save you," Naruto observed. "What else do you have?" Tobi's form phased, using Kamui to become intangible. He reappeared behind Naruto, chain weapon extending toward the swordsman's back. Naruto's Kenbunshoku had predicted it. He spun, Yoru's edge meeting the chain and severing it cleanly. The kogatana left his neck, embedding itself in Toby's shoulder during the split-second transition between intangibility and physical form. Toby retreated, blood flowing from the wound. You can time my kamui that precisely? That's skill, observation, practice. Naruto's kogatana returned to his hand. Your technique has a weakness. Every transition requires a moment of tangibility, and I'm fast enough to exploit it every single time. Then I'll simply stay intangible permanently and become unable to attack me. Kamui works both ways. You can't touch me while phased, and I can't touch you. Stalemate. Unless. Naruto's eyes narrowed. You have another trick. Toby did. He formed seals Naruto didn't recognize, ancient, forbidden techniques from the Uchiha clan's darkest archives. Izanagi, Toby said. Reality rewriting jutsu. For the next minute, any damage I take will be negated. Any attack you land will be treated as illusion. I am invincible. We'll see. Naruto charged, Yoru sweeping in devastating arcs. Each slash should have killed Toby. Perfect timing, perfect precision, cutting through the split second of tangibility. But each time, Toby reformed. The damage vanished. Reality rewrote itself to erase the injury. Naruto understood immediately. This wasn't defense. This was cheating, using the Sharingan to literally alter what had happened, treating lethal attacks as if they'd never landed. Interesting technique, Naruto admitted. He stopped attacking and planted Yoru in the ground. But ultimately futile. Izanagi costs you a Sharingan each time you use it. How many do you have? 1, 2, maybe 10 if you've been collecting them? He began unwrapping something from his left arm, bandages Naruto had worn since his earliest training. Beneath them, his skin was covered in intricate seal patterns. I've been holding back, Naruto said, using only my swordsmanship, my chakra techniques, my physical abilities. But against someone who can rewrite reality, I need to show you what the Uzumaki bloodline is truly capable of. The seals glowed. Chakra, red and oppressive, tinged with the Nine-Tails' influence, exploded outward. But Naruto remained in control, channeling it into Yoru rather than transforming. The black blade began to glow with crimson light. Biju chakra mixing with sword mastery, creating something that shouldn't be possible. This is Yoru's true purpose, Naruto explained, his voice distorted by the power flowing through him. Not just a supreme grade blade, not just a cursed weapon, but a conduit, something that can channel and focus even Biju-level chakra without breaking. He lifted the glowing Yoru with one hand. Your Izanagi can rewrite physical damage. Can it rewrite erasure? He swung. Kokuto Yoru, Kyubi Zangeki, Nine-Tail severing slash. The flying cut that erupted was no longer black. It was crimson, blazing with the Nine-Tails chakra, moving faster than Toby could perceive. It hit him, and Izanagi activated. Reality began to rewrite, but the slash didn't just damage, it erased. The space Toby occupied was cut not just physically, but existentially. Izanagi tried to restore what had been removed, but there was nothing to restore. The technique faltered. Toby's left arm vanished, not severed, not damaged, simply ceased to exist as if it had never been part of him. The masked man stared at the empty space where his limb had been. What did you do? I cut through your reality rewriting. Naruto lowered Yoru, the crimson glow fading. Izanagi can negate damage, but it can't restore what's been completely removed from existence. That's the difference between a normal slash and one enhanced with Biju chakra. Impossible. Nothing should be able to counter Izanagi. It's the ultimate. There is no ultimate technique, no invincible defense, no perfect offense. Naruto's hawk-like eyes locked onto Toby with predatory intensity. Everything can be cut. Everything can be surpassed. Everything has a weakness, and I am skilled enough to find and exploit any weakness that exists. Toby realized he was beaten. One arm gone. Izanagi countered. Kamui predictable. Every technique he possessed had been analyzed and defeated. He had one last option. One final technique that might give him victory. Then I'll use this, Toby said. His remaining eye's Sharingan pattern shifted, changing into something different. Manjikyo Sharingan, but distorted. Wrong somehow. Infinite Tsukuyomi! Toby screamed. The moon above suddenly reflected his eye's pattern. Genjutsu, world-scale illusion, began cascading down toward the battlefield. Everyone who looked at the moon would be trapped. Everyone would fall into eternal sleep. Naruto felt the technique trying to take hold. His vision wavered. Reality began to distort. But his will, his Haoshoku, his dominant spirit that had never submitted to anyone or anything, pushed back. The genjutsu couldn't find purchase, couldn't trap someone whose will literally radiated outward and affected others. No, Naruto said simply. His Haoshoku exploded outward, not aggressive but protective. A dome of pure will covering the allied forces, shielding them from the infinite Tsukuyomi's effect. Thousands of shinobi who should have fallen into illusion remained conscious, protected by Naruto's absolute refusal to submit. That's impossible, Tobi's voice cracked. Infinite Tsukuyomi affects everyone. No one can resist. No one. I can. Naruto walked forward slowly, Yoru dragging behind him, carving a furrow in the earth. Because my will is stronger than your illusion, my reality is more absolute than your fiction, and I am done playing with you. He raised Yoru for the final time. Biju's chakra flooded into the blade again, but more controlled this time. Focused, compressed into the weapon until it glowed like a star. This is my ultimate technique, Naruto said. The culmination of everything I am: swordsmanship, willpower, Uzumaki heritage, Nine-Tails chakra, all focused into a single slash that can cut through anything, even the fabric of reality itself. Tobi tried to flee, tried to phase, tried to activate Izanagi with his remaining eyes. None of it worked. Naruto's Kenbunshoku predicted every movement. His speed exceeded Tobi's reactions, and his next attack was already in motion. Kokuto Yoru, Naruto said, his voice resonating with power. Mugen Zangeki, infinite severing slash. He brought Yoru down. The flying cut that erupted defied description. It wasn't just large, it was absolute. A pillar of crimson and black that extended from earth to sky, cutting through everything. Physical matter, chakra constructs, genjutsu, space itself. It hit Tobi directly. The masked man's final Izanagi activated and was cut through. The reality rewriting shattered like glass against something too absolute to be denied. Tobi's body split vertically, perfectly, cleanly. The two halves fell away, revealing finally what lay beneath the mask. Not Madara Uchiha, but Obito Uchiha, Kakashi's supposedly dead teammate, twisted by war and loss into something monstrous. You. Obito's dying voice was barely audible. You're too strong. No one should be this strong. It's not fair. Strength isn't about fairness, it's about dedication. Naruto stood over Obito's bisected form, Yora planted in the ground between the pieces. You chose shortcuts, stolen techniques, forbidden jutsu. I chose discipline, training, perfection. That's why I stand here and you die there. Obito's eyes, the Sharingan fading, looked up at Naruto one last time. Maybe you're right. Maybe I was, in a pond, all along. He died. The infinite Tsukuyomi faded without its caster to maintain it. The moon returned to normal. The battlefield fell silent. Naruto stood alone among the devastation, Yoru gleaming with residual Biju chakra. Around him, the allied forces slowly processed what they'd witnessed. One person, one sword, one impossible display of power. And the fourth great shinobi war was over before it truly began. The aftermath was chaotic. Medics rushed to tend wounded. Commanders tried to organize the dispersing forces. Politicians argued about credit and consequences. Naruto ignored all of it. He cleaned Yoru methodically, wrapped the blade, and began walking away from the battlefield. Wait! Tsunade's voice called after him. She'd arrived during the final confrontation, witnessed the impossible slash that had ended Tobi. We need to debrief, document what happened. Figure out. I killed the enemy leader. War's over. What else is there to discuss? Naruto didn't stop walking. You can't just leave. There are political ramifications. The other villages will want to understand what happened. You need to handle politics. I need to return to my training ground and perfect that last technique. It was inefficient. Took 3 full seconds to charge. Should be able to cut it down to 1. Naruto finally stopped and turned to face her. The war is over, Hokage. Your job is to clean up the aftermath. Mine is to continue standing guard over Konoha, waiting for the next threat. We both have our roles. Let's stick to them. He vanished before she could argue further, using speed that made tracking impossible. Tsunade stood alone on the battlefield, surrounded by celebrating shinobi and the devastation of Naruto's final attack. The canyon carved by his ultimate technique extended for kilometers, a permanent scar on the landscape that would be visible for generations. He saved the world, Jiraiya said, appearing beside her. Single-handedly ended a war that could have killed hundreds of thousands, and he treats it like just another training exercise. Because to him, it was. Tsunade sighed. He's not human anymore, Jiraiya, if he ever was. He's something else, something that happened to be born in human form. The world's strongest swordsman, Jiraiya agreed. Not a title, a species. Population, 1. They stood in silence, watching shinobi celebrate their survival. The war was over, the threat eliminated. Peace, real peace, bought with Naruto's overwhelming power, had been achieved. But both seinen understood the truth. This peace was fragile. It existed only because Naruto chose to protect it. And the day he chose otherwise, if that day ever came, nothing in the world could stop him. 5 years later, Naruto stood atop the Hokage monument on his 20th birthday. He'd grown into his full height, broader shouldered, but still lean, hawk-like eyes as sharp as ever. Yoru rested against his shoulder, the black blade's presence as natural as breathing. Below him, Konoha prospered. The village had grown under Tsunade's leadership, becoming the undisputed strongest of the 5 great nations. Other villages sought alliance, trade, and diplomatic favor, not from fear of Konoha's military, but from fear of its guardian. Naruto Uzumaki, the hawk-eyed demon, world's strongest swordsman. His legend had spread across the world. Children grew up hearing stories about him. Shinobi academies taught his name as a cautionary tale about the limits of human potential. Bingo books had stopped listing him years ago. What was the point of putting a bounty on someone unkillable? He'd achieved everything he'd sought. Supreme power, absolute freedom, standing at the summit with no one capable of reaching him. And yet, you look contemplative, a voice said. Sasuke appeared beside him, now 17 and bearing the Mangekyo Sharingan he'd awakened after finally defeating Itachi in single combat. Unusual for you. Just thinking. Naruto took a sip from his wine cup. About ambition, about what comes after you achieve your goals. You've been asking that question for 5 years. Found an answer yet? No, but I'm closer. Naruto gestured at the village below. I protected this place because the third asked me to. Then because it was my territory. Then because it became habit? Responsibility? I'm not sure anymore. You care about it, Sasuke said. About the people, even if you won't admit it. Maybe. Naruto set down his cup. I've been alone my entire life, Sasuke. At the training ground, in battle, at the summit. Solitude was my strength. Nothing to distract me, nothing to compromise my focus. But lately, I wonder if that solitude was a choice or just what I was used to. You could change it. You're strong enough to do anything, be anything. That's the problem. I achieved my goal, world's strongest swordsman. But what does that title mean if there's no one left to challenge? What's the point of standing at the summit if you're alone there forever? Sasuke was silent. He'd never heard Naruto speak like this, questioning, uncertain. The invincible swordsman showing something that might almost be vulnerability. Teach, Sasuke said finally. What? Teach. Pass on what you've learned. You've perfected swordsmanship to a level no one else will ever reach, but you could train the next generation. Show them how to approach even a fraction of your skill. Sasuke met Naruto's eyes. You complained about being alone at the summit. So bring others up, not to your level, that's impossible, but high enough that the view isn't quite so lonely. Naruto considered this. He'd rejected teaching before, always preferring solitude, but maybe Sasuke was right. Maybe the next challenge wasn't finding stronger opponents, but creating them. I'll think about it, Naruto said. That's more than I expected. Sasuke stood to leave. For what it's worth, Naruto, thank you for testing me all those years ago, for making me earn the right to face Itachi. I couldn't have succeeded without your particular form of encouragement. You earned it yourself. I just pointed you in the right direction. After Sasuke left, Naruto sat alone with his thoughts. His wine, his sword. The world was at peace, had been for 5 years. No wars, no invasions, no threats capable of challenging him. Just existence, training, waiting. Maybe that was enough. Maybe standing guard over the world, ensuring peace through overwhelming deterrence was purpose enough. Or maybe Sasuke was right. Maybe the next stage of his journey involved something beyond pure strength. The seas I'm looking at, Naruto murmured to himself, have become the ocean I always dreamed of. But what comes after the ocean? What's beyond the horizon? He didn't have an answer. Not yet. But for the first time in years, he felt something he'd forgotten. Curiosity. Not about opponents or techniques, but about possibilities he'd never considered. The world's strongest swordsman stood alone at the summit, looking down at the world he protected, and wondered what came next for someone who'd already achieved everything. The answer, he suspected, would reveal itself eventually. However long it took, he would wait at the top, ready for whatever came. Because that's what the world's strongest swordsman did. He stood guard, forever vigilant, forever supreme, forever alone, yet somehow, despite himself, not quite as isolated as he used to be. 10 years after the war, Naruto Uzumaki sat in a small dojo on the outskirts of Konoha. Around him, 12 students, ranging from Jinin to Chunin in rank, practiced basic sword forms under his watchful eye. He'd finally taken Sasuke's advice, started teaching. Not his full style. That was impossible to replicate. But the fundamentals, the discipline, the mindset that separated swordsmen from people who merely held blades. Your stance is wrong, Naruto told a young Uchiha. Feet wider. Balance your weight. A strong stance is the foundation of every technique. The student adjusted and Naruto nodded. Better, again. It was strange, this teaching. Foreign to his nature, but also satisfying. Watching these students struggle with basics he'd mastered 20 years ago reminded him of his own journey, the endless training, the countless failures before success. He was 25 now, in his prime physically, though his skill had long since transcended physical limitations. Yoru rested against the dojo wall, rapt but present, a reminder to students of what dedication could achieve. Sensei? One student asked nervously. Is it true you once cut an entire army in half with one swing? Yes. How did you learn to do that? Repetition. I practiced the same slash 10,000 times, then 10,000 more, then every day after that. Naruto's hawk-like eyes studied the student. There are no shortcuts to mastery, only discipline and time. But you're a genius. I am what I am because I never stopped training, never compromised, never accepted good enough. Naruto stood, moving to the center of the dojo. Watch. He drew a practice sword, nothing special, just bamboo, and performed a simple horizontal slash. Perfect form, perfect speed, perfect technique. The air itself seemed to part before the strike. That's a basic slash, the first thing any swordsman learns. I've performed it millions of times, and I'll perform it millions more, searching for perfection that might not exist. He handed the practice sword to the student. That's what it takes. Are you willing to pay that price? The student hesitated, then nodded firmly. Yes, Sensei? We'll see. Naruto returned to his position. Continue practicing. I'll correct your forms. As the training session continued, Tsunade appeared in the doorway. She'd aged well, her transformation jutsu maintaining her youthful appearance, but Naruto could see the weight of decades as Hokage in her eyes. Can we talk? She asked. Naruto dismissed the students for the day and followed Tsunade outside. They walked through Konoha's streets, much larger now than when he'd been born, prosperous and peaceful. The council wants to make you 6th Hokage, Tsunade said without preamble. Naruto stopped walking. What? I'm retiring. 20 years is enough. Time for new leadership. And they want you. Tsunade met his gaze. You're the strongest, most respected, the world's deterrent against war. Who better to lead Konoha? Someone who wants the position, someone who enjoys politics and diplomacy, someone who isn't me. Naruto resumed walking. I protect this village. I train the next generation. That's my role. Leadership requires different skills. You could learn them. I could, but I won't. My path is swordsmanship. Administration would distract from that. He paused. Choose Kakashi. He's smart, experienced, and actually cares about the title. He'd make a good Hokage. You're sure? Completely. Naruto's tone was final. I stand guard. That's what I've always done. That's what I'll continue doing. The Hokage can handle everything else. Tsunade sighed but nodded. Kakashi it is then. Though for the record, you would have been interesting. The first Hokage who'd rather train than attend meetings. The first Hokage who'd cut the council chambers in half if they annoyed him too much. Naruto corrected with a slight smile. Better for everyone this way. They walked in companionable silence for a while, watching the village go about its peaceful existence. You've changed, Tsunade observed. From the solitary demon child to this, a teacher, an institution, the guardian of Konoha. I haven't changed. I just expanded my definition of protection. It's not enough to kill threats. Have to prevent them from arising in the first place. Training strong shinobi does that. Naruto glanced at her. Did you ever think, when you became 5th Hokage, that the demon brat would become this? Honestly, no. I thought you'd either destroy the village or leave it. Never imagined you'd become its protector. Tsunade smiled. But I'm glad you proved me wrong. Minato and Kushina would be proud. Confused, maybe, but proud. Maybe. Naruto looked toward the monument where the 4th Hokage's face was carved. I never knew them. Don't really feel connected to their legacy, but I think they'd understand. They died protecting what mattered to them. I live protecting what matters to me. Different methods. Same principle. Very philosophical for you. I've had 25 years to think about it. Naruto stopped at the base of the monument. Thank you, Tsunade, for trusting me, for not trying to control me, for letting me find my own path. You never gave me much choice, but you're welcome. She turned to leave, then paused. Naruto, one last question. If you could go back and change things, make the village accept you from the start, give yourself a normal childhood, would you? Naruto considered this seriously. No. My path made me who I am. Solitude taught me dedication. Hatred taught me strength. Being the demon brat forced me to become someone no one could hurt. Change that, and I'm not the world's strongest swordsman. I'm just another shinobi. And you prefer this? I prefer being what I choose to be. This life, this strength, this role, I earned it all. That matters more than comfort or acceptance ever could. Tsunade left, and Naruto climbed the monument to his usual spot. He sat against Yoru's blade, poured himself wine, and watched the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and crimson. 25 years since the demon brat was born. 20 years since he'd found Yoru. 15 since he'd become the world's strongest swordsman, in fact, as well as aspiration. 10 since he'd ended the 4th Great War with a single slash. And now he taught, guided, protected. Not bad, he thought, for someone who'd started with nothing but hatred and determination. His students would never reach his level. No one would. But they'd be strong, skilled, capable of protecting themselves and others. That was enough. And if another threat ever arose, another Orochimaru, another Tobi, another force that needed cutting down, Naruto would be ready. Waiting at the summit, Yoru in hand, supreme and eternal. However long it may take, he murmured, quoting himself from decades ago, I shall await you at the top. The sun set, night fell, and atop the Hokage monument, the world's strongest swordsman kept watch over the world he'd chosen to protect, forever vigilant, forever supreme, forever exactly what he'd wanted to be. The end. Epilogue. The legend eternal. 50 years later, an old man sat in the same dojo where Naruto had once taught. His hair was gray, his face lined with age, but his eyes, those hawk-like golden-tinted eyes, remained as sharp as ever. Naruto Uzumaki, 75 years old, world's strongest swordsman, watched his great-grandstudents practice the forms he'd refined over 7 decades of endless training. Yoru rested beside him, unchanged by time. The black blade gleamed as brilliantly as the day he'd found it, cursed and eternal, waiting for the next wielder who might prove worthy. Though Naruto suspected no such wielder would exist in his lifetime, or ever. A young girl, barely 8, red hair marking her as an Uzumaki, approached nervously. Great-grand-sensei, is it true you once cut the moon in half? Naruto smiled. The legends had grown with time, becoming more fantastical with each retelling. No, I cut an army in half, and a battlefield, and several mountains, but never the moon. But you could, right? If you wanted to? Probably. Never tried. He ruffled her hair gently. What's your name, child? Hikari Uzumaki. A beautiful name. Do you want to learn the sword, Hikari? Yes, more than anything. Her eyes shone with admiration. I want to be like you, the world's strongest. Naruto's smile turned slightly sad. That's a lonely path. Are you sure that's what you want? I'm sure. Then listen carefully. He gestured her closer, voice dropping to something almost conspiratorial. The title isn't what matters. The strength isn't what matters. What matters is finding your path and following it with absolute dedication. Whether that path leads to swordsmanship or medicine or diplomacy or anything else, commit to it completely. That's what separates the great from the merely good. But you chose the sword. I did, and I never regretted it. But that was my path. Yours might be different. Don't copy me, Hikari, surpass me. Find something I never achieved and make it yours. The girl nodded solemnly, processing wisdom that would take years to fully understand. After training ended, Naruto climbed the monument one last time. His body protested, age finally catching up despite Uzumaki longevity and a lifetime of physical conditioning, but he pushed through, reaching his spot overlooking Konoha. The village had grown. Skyscrapers now dotted the landscape. Technology had advanced, but fundamentally, it remained the same place he'd protected for over 60 years. Tsunade was long dead, Jiraiya too. Kakashi had served as 6th Hokage and retired honorably. Sasuke led the Uchiha clan. Sakura ran the hospital. The old generation had given way to new faces, new dreams, new futures. But Naruto remained, eternal guardian, living legend, the standard against which all other shinobi were measured and found wanting. He felt it then, his Kenbunshoku detecting something it hadn't sensed in decades, a worthy challenger. Not here, not yet, but somewhere in the world, someone was approaching his level, not matching it. That was impossible, but getting close enough to be interesting. Finally, Naruto murmured, thought I'd die before finding another real opponent. He stood, joints protesting but spirit undimmed, and drew Yoru for the first time in years. The black blade sang as it left its wrapping, eager, hungry for battle against someone who might actually survive a few exchanges. One more fight, Naruto said to the evening air. One final test before I pass on. That seems appropriate. He sensed the challenger approaching. Days away still, but coming. Drawn by legends and ambition and the eternal question, was Naruto Uzumaki truly unbeatable? The answer was yes, had always been yes, would remain yes until the day he died, but proving it one last time, demonstrating to the world that even in old age, the world's strongest swordsman remained supreme? That would be a fitting end to his story. However long it may take, Naruto said, his voice carrying across the village with the same commanding presence he'd possessed at 12, I shall await you at the top. The challenger came 3 days later, a woman, mid-30s, scarred from countless battles, wielding a blade that hummed with its own power. Not Yoru's equal, but close enough to be respectable. They met on the same training ground where Naruto had spent his youth, where he'd swung Yoru 10 million times searching for perfection, where his legend had begun. You're the world's strongest swordsman? The woman asked, studying the elderly man before her. You don't look like much. Appearances deceive. Naruto drew Yoru one-handed. Even in old age, the massive blade felt weightless in his grip. What's your name, challenger? Akane Hoshigaki, last of my clan, and I've come to take your title. You're welcome to try. Naruto's hawk-like eyes studied her technique, her stance, her spirit. Strong, skilled, worthy of a real battle. But understand something before we begin. I've never lost, never been defeated, never even been truly challenged. If you attack me, I will defend myself, and you will die. I accept those terms. Akane raised her blade. Show me what makes you legendary. Naruto moved, 75 years old, body aged and slowed. But skill transcended age, experience trumped youth, and absolute mastery never faded. His blade met hers with perfect timing, force redirection, minimal movement, maximum efficiency. Akane was skilled, easily Jonin level, possibly approaching the low S rank. She'd studied Naruto's recorded battles, analyzed his techniques, prepared countermeasures. It didn't matter. Naruto's Kenbunshoku predicted her every move. His Busoshoku made his elderly body harder than steel. His Haoshoku pressed down on her spirit, testing her will. And Yoru, eternal Yoru, carved through her defenses like they were paper. 3 exchanges, that's all it took. 3 perfect counters, 3 precise cuts, 3 demonstrations of the impossible gulf between competent and supreme. Akane collapsed, her blade shattered, blood flowing from non-lethal wounds Naruto had carefully placed to disable without killing. You're really unbeatable, she gasped. All the legends, they were understatements. Most legends are. Naruto knelt beside her, already signaling for medical assistance. But you were worthy. You pushed me to actually try, even if only for a moment. That's more than most achieve. Will you teach me the way you taught your other students? I'm too old for taking new students, but, Naruto considered, I'll write down everything I've learned, every technique, every philosophy, every lesson from 70 years of swordsmanship. Someone should preserve it. Might as well be you. Thank you, Master. Don't call me master. I'm just a swordsman who refused to stop training. Naruto stood as medical ninja arrived to tend Akane's wounds. Recover, then live your life, pursue your path, and if you ever reach my level, unlikely but possible, come find me again, I'll be waiting. Naruto Uzumaki died peacefully in his sleep at the age of 83. No battle, no dramatic final stand, just an old man who closed his eyes and didn't open them again. They found Yoru beside him, gleaming and intact, refusing to let anyone else touch it. The Black Blade had found its eternal wielder and would accept no other. Konoha buried Naruto with highest honors. The 8th Hokage, one of his former students, gave the eulogy. Shinobi from every nation attended. Even former enemies paid their respects to the man who'd single-handedly maintained world peace for 6 decades through sheer overwhelming power. They carved his face on the monument next to the other Hokages, despite his never accepting the title. Because he'd been more than a Hokage. He'd been a legend, a deterrent, a guardian who'd stood watch over the world and dared anyone to threaten it. The inscription beneath his monument read simply, Naruto Uzumaki, world's strongest swordsman, the hawk-eyed demon, forever vigilant, forever supreme. Yoru was placed in a shrine built specifically for it, protected by seals, guarded day and night, waiting for the next Uzumaki who might prove worthy, knowing full well that such a person might never exist. Because Naruto Uzumaki had been unique, a perfect storm of bloodline, dedication, and absolute refusal to accept any limitation. The kind of prodigy that appeared once in 1,000 years, or perhaps only once ever. 100 years after Naruto's death, children still learned his story in the academy. The demon brat who became a legend, the genin who fought 9 S-rank criminals and won, the swordsman who ended a world war with a single slash. Most thought the stories were exaggerated. Impossible. No one could really be that strong. But in the shrine where Yoru rested, the Black Blade gleamed with eternal patience, waiting, watching, knowing the truth that those children couldn't comprehend. Naruto Uzumaki had been exactly as strong as the legends claimed, possibly stronger. And his legacy would endure as long as humanity remembered that dedication, discipline, and absolute commitment could transcend any limitation. He had stood at the summit, alone, supreme, unchallenged, the world's strongest swordsman, forever and always. The end.
The world's strongest swordsman doesn't beg for your acknowledgement, but if you're ambitious enough to keep watching, subscribe. Hit that notification, because legends like this don't tell themselves twice. I'll be waiting at the top. However long it may take, I'll be here. Now go. You've seen what true strength looks like. Don't forget it.